There are hyphens, AWM, hyphen, private, no spaces, password, Astoria 2020, Astoria 25.
Okay, everyone, we're going to get started soon. Board members, please make sure you sign in. Juliet has the sign-in sheet.
It happens every day in the tri-state area. People get and open the doors. We're your neighbors.
Hi, we're going to get started with our meeting now. And I guess whenever you're ready to go live, thank you. Yeah, we're ready. Okay, welcome everyone. This first portion of our meeting tonight is actually a special public hearing on the fiscal 27 capital and expense budget. Members of the public are invited to make requests for the city budget. I'm going to hand it over to Amy Howe, who is chairing our capital and expense committee, to take over from here.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Again, we are starting a little early this evening. 6 o'clock to 6:30 portion will be devoted to the public, who can come up to the podium and let us know about any capital or expense budget items that we should bring to the city's attention. Committees will be meeting in the next month to put together a budget that will be forwarded to the city. So if anybody has any capital or expense items for any of the agencies that we work with, please come up to the podium. There should be a sign-in sheet up there as well. Thank you. And give us your name and...
My name is Lori Hengel. I'm here to talk about the dog park. I live over in Hallett's Point.
Can you speak up again? Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Lori Hengel. I'm here to talk about the dog park. We live over in Hallett's Point.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Can I start now? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I was born and raised in Astoria. I live over in Hallett's Point right now. In my development alone over there are 2,000 apartments, and there are constantly building more apartments. I think that the latest estimate I heard is there's going to be 7,000. And that's new apartments. That's not considering those that are already there. The area is growing, obviously, and as far as dog households, estimates nationally about 60% of households have a dog. That means there's going to be thousands of dogs in that area, and there's no dog park. There's no place for the dogs to run. Now, studies have shown that benefits of dog parks aren't just for dogs, they're for humans. You know, there's not just the exercise component, but there's mental health benefits. Places with dog parks also have positive impacts on crime prevention. They also have a positive impact on community investment and an increase in real estate values. Not a bad thing. It's a win for property owners as well as businesses and for dogs. A few years ago, Whitey Ford got a multi-million-dollar makeover. It's absolutely beautiful. It attracts people from all over our city. They come to our area, they play ball, they spend money in our businesses there. Definitely investment that we want to protect. It's also, unfortunately, the only green space in that area. And with that multitude of dogs, we really need something else than Whitey Ford to protect that investment. I also understand there's a seawall improvement going on in that area soon, which I think would, you know, probably be kind of an opportune time for us to be doing maybe a little planning about putting something else in that area too. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there a particular area, block, site that you foresee as a potential?
We haven't done the studies yet fully, but from what I understand, we're eyeing actually a grassy area behind the ball field, so that's on 26th Avenue and between 1st and 2nd Street. There's a grassy area right back there that's right by the water, easily accessible to dogs and humans. There's, you know, parking challenges in that area, just like every place else, but most of these dogs are going to be walking with their humans, so we're really not expecting a lot of traffic impact.
Thank you so much. Next.
Let's go inside again. Neil Erden, Friends of Whitey Ford Field. I actually want to echo what Laurie said just now. I'm working on a different part of the field. I read the capital report from last year, which was rejected by Parks for ARIA, and I think something got lost in translation, because what we're actually looking for is we need a drainage system behind home base so home base doesn't get flooded all the time. I've already had 2 capital budget meetings, one with the budget director at the Queen Borough President's Office. There is money available. It's a matter of explaining to Donovan Richards the necessity of coming down to the field and looking at the issues. I'm having another capital budget meeting tomorrow to see what can be done. The money is there. It's probably going to be about $2 million to repair the back of the field. But as Laurie says, it's a beautiful field, and we should not overlook it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Neil.
Good evening. I have a question about a current capital expenditure project that's going on now. Should I wait for later, or should I ask my question?
No, I think you can ask the question now.
Okay. My question is about the renovation in Astoria Park. It's nice to finally see some progress. While some of the delays are understandable, my question is whether that area of the park can be opened to the community earlier than December. According to 2 of the landscapers who are working there, someone I spoke to in the Parks Department, and the contractor, the sod needs a couple of weeks to take hold, and then the park can be opened. The sod will be completed this week, and for argument's sake, let's just say that it takes 3 weeks to root. Maybe we can enjoy the park in the fall instead of winter. I just want to remind everyone that the community had to make many calls to get the waist-high weeds taken care of. No one was cleaning that area for months, and the weeds were attracting mosquitoes. The bottom line is that we've waited long enough. Open that area of the park, please. The December date is arbitrary at this point.
Ma'am, excuse me. Do you mind noting your name on the sign-in
yes.
sheet? Thank you. And we'll bring this back to DPR. Yeah, and in addition to the opening date for that area that's been renovated, do you have any other requests for the Parks Department?
Yes, well,
Yeah.
not for the Parks Department, but we can work on the streets. I actually spoke, I think, to one of you on the phone recently. The streets with the missing Belgian blocks, or whatever they're called, on 31st, and I'm sure someone else has brought this up, but people are tripping in those missing blocks on 31st and Ditmars on 23rd and 31st. They look nice 25 years ago when they went in, or maybe even 40 years ago when they went in. I don't remember, but they're missing, and people's carts are getting stuck in them. My foot got stuck in one in the rain. You know, it's time to get that done.
You're describing what's happening in the street, right?
In
Not
the
in
street,
the park.
in the street. There are missing blocks, and when it rains, people can't see, you know, where the block is missing, and people are twisting ankles, and their carts are getting stuck. It's been a long time.
Right. We'll bring it up with the DOT committee to talk to the agency about some of those repairs. Thank you. Next.
Hi, members of the board and other committee members. My name is William.
And sign in.
Oh, yep. Yeah. Hi, board members and other members of the community. My name is William. I recently moved to the neighborhood a year ago, and as a new property owner, I wanted to just echo Lori's point about having a dog park near the baseball field. I think that would be really beneficial to property values as well as just the general enjoyment of other pet owners in the area. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Hi, anyone else from the public with requests for repairs in parks, any kind of expense for any of the bids? I think, yeah, thank you so much. Oh, wait, one more. Yay.
Hi,
Yeah, okay.
my name is Suzanne Hengel. I also was born and raised here in Astoria, lifelong resident, and I echo what Lori said before about the benefits of a dog park on the pets and on the humans. I have friends in other areas of the city, particularly in downtown Manhattan, and I have seen the transformative value that dog parks bring to a community, particularly a community that is undergoing change, that is having a lot of influx of new population come in. It really does bring community members together. It's similar to having a school. It's a similar impact, just on a different population. Instead of children, you have pets, and it really affects people of all ages. It affects, and there are studies that show that it benefits kids, and it benefits seniors and everybody in between. It's really a minimum ask. It's a minimum amount of spend to get a dog park up and running, and it has tremendous value. So I really do encourage you to think carefully about planning one here in the community.
Thank you. Did you sign in? Thank you so much. We'll leave the mic open for anybody who's coming in late, and we'll start our regular meeting at 6:30. Thank you.
Also, even if you weren't planning on asking for something, those of you who are here in the public participants, if you now are inspired to come up and ask for something, whether it's more after-school programs, whether it's more sanitation services, whether it's a new library, it's like whatever it is, like this is your time. So feel free to go up to the mic, even if you weren't really prepared. If you want to make an ask, please do so. So a capital is about like usually physical projects. So think of, buildings or infrastructure, and expense categories are things like, personnel for city agencies, more park rangers, more, more, like I said, more services, right, that you might want to see. So if there's something that you want to advocate for, feel free to step up to the mic.
Good evening. Excuse my lateness. Y'all see where I work. My name is Tanzania Huey. I live at Hallett's Point, and I am requesting a dog park in the Whitley, I think it's Whitley Foley. That one, oh, look at my music, thank you. Look at that. In that baseball field where it could be dual, so it's not just baseball, but also, It could be where the dogs can play. We already have a ton of dogs in the area. Everyone comes. We have several different developments that are building up and several that are already there. And I think it's imperative to make it like a multi-purpose space, not just a baseball, so that the people that live there, because in my building there's more dogs than there are people almost, and where the people can also take care of their dogs. And in a meeting, I think a month ago, 2 months ago, it was said, oh, well, it's going to be hard and it's going to be bad and the ground is going to be the ground, like their dogs, and I definitely understand. But I would like for some money to be put in towards that so that we can enjoy the space, not only the space, but our dogs, and that the community can grow, because I think that a lot of people got dogs during COVID, and now it has become very much a part of their lives and their existence. So I think that that would enhance our living. And that's all I got to say. My name is Tanzania Huey.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name's Laura Kratos, and I'm just going to put my name down real quick.
Can you speak into the mic, please?
Of course. I was not planning to speak tonight, but it's nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me up. I have 3 kids in Astoria. Was not born and bred here, but I'm from the South. And I take my kids every day to Astoria Heights Playground. And there are only stop signs in between the crosswalks and that playground that people run constantly. And at some point, a child or a parent is going to be hit. And we are all going to be crying on Mama Lee and the other mom groups. And I want to stop that before that happens. So I really urge you to look into maybe a stoplight, at least 2 parts of the sidewalk to Astoria Heights Playground. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I was just informed, that's a request that you can put into the office. If you don't mind calling the office tomorrow, and maybe, just giving the corners in which you see that there's a need for those signs or red light signals. Thank you.
I would love to. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, good evening.
Hi. Sorry it's taken me a minute to log in. My name is Deanne Gorman, and I am a public member of this board's sanitation and what's the second name of that? Environmental Sanitation Committee. Sorry. I wasn't planning on speaking either, but I think we have discussed this in committee, and I was given an answer, but I would like to request better public garbage cans. I don't understand the point of the wire ones that just fall and blow over, and the garbage that is just dumped all over the sidewalk next to these. I've been walking my block for 5 years. Around COVID, I started to do it on a regular basis, picking up garbage, and I fill a bag by the time I get to the end of my block. I live on 33rd Street between 30th and 31st Avenues. The 31st Avenue Open Streets program really takes care of the 2 blocks on 31st Avenue on Saturdays and Sundays, but the rest of the time it's a garbage dump. And I am so shocked that construction areas are not enforced, that they've got to pick up around, all the barriers. But we need better trash cans, solid, and we need more trash pickup. So that's my particular request.
Yeah, I think there's been an ongoing request for improved trash bins year in, year out, and I think that's something that we need to bring to the attention of our local electeds. That apparently they sponsor some of those larger cans.
Yeah, so, I had thought it was a community thing. I did not know that was a private business.
Well, it's not private, but they apparently sponsor them. So those larger cans, we should just have some letters.
Will that ever change that it's not sponsored? Because litter is, that's like a public concern, right? Like,
Yeah.
will it always be a sponsored thing to have a better garbage can on the streets?
I think a lot of the commercial streets have those sponsored, so I think we just need to raise awareness that we need them throughout the district.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for your time. My name is Kimberly Vasallo. I've lived in Astoria about 20 years. And over the last few months, I've been engaging with a lot of other community members in response to an individual who has been harassing and assaulting the women and
Oh,
girls in our neighborhood.
this is for capital and expense right now? So
Yeah,
there'll be a
so-
public comment section later.
I
Okay.
understand, I understand. What that's brought to my attention is that our public safety budget could really use some significant attention. So a lot of what I'm understanding now is there's not much we can do now, but if we look to 2027, we could increase the amount of public safety officers we have in our schools. We could increase the amount of public safety officers that we have around our train stations where people are feeling afraid in our neighborhood to go alone. And having lived here so long, that feels like such a new problem that I have really been thinking, well, where do we need to spend more money to solve this problem? I can't think of any other place that we as a community could shift our money other than towards public safety. And that's one of the main areas that our budget has had a significant decrease in funding over the last decade. So that's why I think this is a very clear public safety fiscal issue. Wanted to bring it to this portion of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Lopez. I didn't expect to speak as well, but in this part. But I would like to request an elevator at the MTA station that's at Ditmars Boulevard. As a nanny and a mother, bringing up kids in a stroller up those steps, having somebody either help you or trying to carry it up yourself is extremely, extremely dangerous. The only other alternative is to walk all the way over to Astoria Boulevard and get on that elevator. Rainy days, that's really not much of an option, or an option that you really don't want to use. And then also, people that are handicapped and have accessibility issues would have to make their way down all the way to Astoria Boulevard in order to get on the train. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe there's funding in these projects. I mean, as you've seen, there's like more and more elevators along the line. So hopefully we'll get to that station soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no one else, we're going to go to our regular meeting and close the session of the capital and expense portion. And I just want to mention to the chairs of all the different committees, I'll be reaching out to you all soon and kind of getting some of the items on our list and get a review process going. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Amy. And thank you all for testifying tonight. Those of you who did, we appreciate it. It's always good to see people turn out and express what they need for our community. Okay, we are going to now start our regular monthly board meeting and public hearing. So I'll just go through the agenda real quick so everyone knows what's going to happen. We are going to start with a presentation from the NYPD. They're going to talk about the newly rolled out Q team. We did have Alexander Kipp scheduled today. He was going to do our annual conflict of interest training that he does, but we have to cancel that for tonight. It'll probably be in October. So that's on the agenda, but we won't be getting that presentation tonight. Then we're going to hear item number 1, which is regarding 1114 35th Ave, regarding a fresh certification. And then we have item number 2, 3301 11th Street, ULURP, or that's a rezoning. We'll hear that presentation. Then we will have public session where members of the public are invited to speak, limited up to 2 minutes per speaker. We'll have then our business section where we will go through kind of our board business. And then any elected representatives will be able to speak. So that's the agenda for this evening. I think there are some on the table as well. Once again, we won't be hearing from Alexander Kipp tonight. We'll probably hear from him next month. So with that, I would like to call up the representatives from the NYPD to do their presentation for us. Yeah, I think probably at the podium so we can hear you, or, you know, I can give you the mic here too, whatever works best for you.
Good evening, everyone.
If you could, yeah, lift the mic up so and just speak into it so we can all hear you and it gets recorded properly. There we go.
Good evening. My name is Sergeant Rampreet Jaswal. I'm assigned to the 114 Precinct. I am the newly assigned Quality of Life Supervisor. I just want to give a little introduction. Joined tonight is, I don't know if you guys recognize them, Officer Gabe Tovar, former Community Affairs for the 114 Precinct, and Quality of Life Officers Caputo and Sant'Angelo. So around August 11th, Queens North as a borough for the NYPD initiated a new Quality of Life program. Basically, the Quality of Life program was designed by the Mayor's Office as well as the Police Commissioner in regards to a study that was conducted in response to the amount of 911 jobs and 311 jobs that the city was receiving. The Mayor and the Police Commissioner decided that, based on this study, the amount of non-priority 311 complaints that the city was receiving was increasing while the amount of 911 emergency calls was decreasing. So they decided that now, this year, specifically the summertime, was a good time to initiate this Quality of Life program. So pretty much they understood that the amount of time it took for officers to respond to your complaints was pretty excessive. It took a long time just to respond to a blocked driveway call or a noise complaint or things of that nature, a car being parked on the sidewalk, and so on. So they understood that because of this excessive time that it took the police department to respond, they wanted this newly formed Quality of Life team to handle specifically those jobs. The pilot program started around the beginning of this year, started in 6 to 7 commands from different parts of the boroughs. These commands were tasked solely to address quality of life conditions, and so they took this pilot program and they tracked the amount of time that these officers were responding to 311 complaints, and they noticed that the amount of time it took them drastically fell. It went from around 6 hours on average through the entire city down to around an hour and a couple minutes. So they saw the pilot program was working. They wanted to initiate it citywide, and the 114 Precinct adopted the Quality of Life on August 11th. So we've been around for now approximately a little over a month. If you guys remember the old NCO program, Neighborhood Coordination Officer program, the city has now, the police department has abolished that program. However, we do have former NCOs that are newly assigned to the Quality of Life team. There's somewhat of a difference. We still have the same objective. Over the years, you guys could tell the NCO program lost its focus, lost its objective, and lost its support. The officers that were assigned to these specific sectors, Adam, Boyd, Charlie, and David, in the 114 Precinct, were supposed to be meeting with the community members, handling issues directly with the community, and that wasn't happening. These guys were being pulled for other tasks, backfilling patrol because of the shortage that we have in terms of personnel. So the Q team is somewhat of a revamped NCO program. It's supported under a singular chief now, so it's coming from the top executives of the department. We have a lot of backing, and we all have to answer to this chief, who does monthly meetings in terms to see how we are doing progress-wise. Besides that, we also have an administrative staff that is dedicated just to tracking stats for the Quality of Life team, and we also have an analytics staff to see what we are doing is actually working. So That's one of the key differences that the NCO program did not have. At the 114 precinct, we are composed of 2 teams, one on the day team, one on the night team. The day officers usually work around 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The night officers work from 6 p.m. towards 2 a.m. There are no quality of life officers assigned overnight past 2 a.m. Each team currently is filled with 6 officers. These officers were chosen from the previous NCO programs, the traffic officers that the 114 precinct had, and some youth coordination officers, the YCOs, as long as 1 supervisor for each team. Me, I'm the supervisor for the day team, for the officers that work from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. One of the main objectives that we were tasked directly from One Police Plaza was responding to specific chronic quality of life issues. What One Police Plaza determined to be chronic quality of life ranges from noise complaints, goes to illegal vending, outdoor drug use, unregistered vehicles, abandoned vehicles, shells of vehicles that are left on city streets, as well as homeless encampments, people setting up encampments on plain view, public view, as well as reckless e-bike operation, scooter operation, and traffic violations. So those are some of the things that we are tasked to address on a daily basis. And they also have us setting up a new program on the old program called Salesforce, where we have to update on a weekly basis all the conditions that are generated as chronic in the confines of the 114 precinct. So in the last month and a couple days, 114 precinct, based on the amount of 311 and 911 calls, as well as shoplifting conditions that we received that are actually documented, we established 16 conditions. To our success, we managed to close out 4 of those conditions with successful results. Some of the conditions that we are targeting right now that are probably going to be a long-term, multiple agency supported operation is going to be, for example, 4112 Broadway. There's I don't know if you guys are aware, the homeless group that's usually hanging outside, drinking in public daylight, all hours of the day. We also have a shoplifting condition by 4818 Northern Boulevard, where we're taking daily reports for shoplifting, theft, petty larcenies from Marshalls, Burlington, Home Depot. We also just recently addressed a current condition at 41st Avenue and 22nd Street. If you guys ever drove down southbound on 22nd Street, you would notice the large group of presumed homeless individuals that were doing drugs in public daylight, hanging out in the corners, sleeping on the streets, on the sidewalks. That's one of the conditions that we just recently addressed as well. And a few parking conditions that we're tackling on a daily basis, where we have the quality of life officers responding and updating Salesforce. 1133 Wellington, we received around 26 calls in the last 28-day periods for illegal parking. 20-25 Steinway is a parking violation right across from the Lounge Code up on Steinway. 4212 Broadway, Chill Restaurant and Bar. We're also dealing with noise complaints at that location. We also received a lot of calls at Under Pressure on 31st Street for vehicles that are being parked on the sidewalk throughout business hours, as well as drag racing that's happening on 57th Street and 32nd Avenue. Besides that, we also taking a lot of complaints from CVS on Steinway and 30 Ave, as well as TJ Maxx up by Ditmars. So those are just some of the complaints that we have open right now that we deemed are chronic based on the amount of calls that the precinct is receiving. My officers are going out there pretty much every day, and they have to update all these locations with any activity that they had, and that is what's being monitored. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to.
Yeah, if you want to ask a question, raise your hand. If people want to report a quality of life complaint, what should they do?
The best way to report a quality of life complaint, if it's not an emergency, is to call 311. If you believe that dialing 311, leaving some sort of information that we could get back to you, such as a phone number or a name or an email address, that is the best way that we could contact you and try to address that condition individually. If you do not have any success with 311s, which it's going to be kind of hard because quality of life officers are now solely responsible for every 311 job while we're working. If you want to reach out to the community affairs officers at the 114 precinct, they are our liaisons. They will also forward the complaints to us.
Okay, thank you. Questions from the board? Okay, we'll start down that end. I can't see, oh, there, Kian, go ahead.
Just two quick questions. One is much in line with how we might be requesting new things. Is that determination solely being made on the number of 311 complaints? Like you have a set list of things you guys are going to keep targeting. To add to that list, you would need enough volume of 311? Or is it going to be made on a case-by-case basis? That's question number one.
Yes. So pretty much if there is a large volume of the 311 complaints at a specific location, regardless of the amount of individuals that are putting in that complaint, that's what's going to determine if it becomes a long-term chronic condition. So for example, some of these parking complaints, a car being parked on a hydrant, officers could respond there, give it a ticket, an A summons, and handle the job and close out that job. But that isn't going to fix the condition. Once that car leaves, another person is just going to do the same thing at that hydrant. So that's how we determine that's going to be a chronic condition. In regards to the first part of your question, if you have any other violation questions or anything like that, or violation complaints, we're also going to handle those. It won't be considered a long-term chronic condition where we need to call out other city agencies to come assist us.
Okay, got it. Makes sense. Second thing is not even a question, just more of a request. I believe you guys have the ability via the 311 app to be able to give specific responses. I think you have a preset list of them. So some of them will say like, police responded, there's no evidence of a violation at this time. Sometimes it'll say, police showed up, but no action was required. My only request would be, especially for these high quality of life ones, that if you can submit more descriptive responses, because I've done things like that in the past where I submit something, you guys come, say no police action was required, you leave, I go back and the problem's still there. So I think just more transparency with the general public as it comes in. If we know why a response wasn't warranted rather than just the response, I think that would go a long way.
Absolutely. So the 311 complaint system right now, as Microsoft, our developers, published, we are allowed to input specific radio code finals. So for example, 91 would be non-crime corrected. Once an officer selects that 311 complaint to be a 91 non-crime corrected, it automatically generates an automated message. So those messages that you're seeing on the 311 final, the dispositions, are not being individually typed. It's whatever the system's generating. However, you are correct. Officers can go in and put personalized messages to the person that put the 311 complaints.
Yeah, just a general request as they go through. I think it would help people a lot.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that Ryan? I can't see. Oh, no, it's Nas.
Hello, thanks for presenting. I think this is a pretty good reorganization of manpower because, yeah, chronically 311 has been like, maybe you guys will get to it, maybe you won't, and a lot of what we hear at the board is that kind of stuff, like 311-esque issues. While it's good to hear from top down that, you know, some issues that recurring issues or chronic issues that we have also heard at the board are known by command. I think some of these committees especially are very in tune with other chronic issues as well. So while yes, we always tell members of the public or other committee members that like, hey, file the 311 so that we have receipts and all that, it would be good to know if, and again, I know that's not like the NCO commander or at this point, but if there was a central desk or person that perhaps the committees can run a list by, like, hey, here's what we're getting a lot of feedback on. Could you pass this up the ladder and see if, you know, you can get this as like a targeted chronic patrol or something to that effect?
Yes, so if anyone happens to share or wants to share any locations that they believe, as of today, deserves more attention from the Quality of Life team, we will make that a chronic condition today. It doesn't matter based on the history of the calls that that location received. We're all going to take down every location that we possibly can from today's meeting and look into it. We're going to triage each separate location to determine how much attention it's going to receive compared to the others that are already pre-existing.
Okay, I mean, that's super great to hear. I don't know if everyone came ready with like a list of that today, But just on an ongoing basis, would there be an ideal contact for that if, let's say, 3 months from now, we start hearing rumblings of some new chronic issue
Yes.
or something like that?
So best sort of contact would be reach out to the 114 precinct directly, either through Community Affairs, Officer Gabe Tovar. We have business cards, contact cards that we will give out today if you want to reach out to us directly. Also, you could call the 114 precinct. If you call the general number, it may take some time for them to pick up as they're handling walk-in complaints at the same time. Emails is the best option as well. If you can't get through any of that, we're in direct contact with Ms. Lawrence. You can reach out to the community board, and we have a direct communication with the community board as well.
Thank you.
Okay, Frank?
Just two quick ones for you. Number one, you've mentioned the team's been in place for about 6 weeks, and you've got an analytics team. So I'd be just curious for the 114th, what the response time drop's been so far. Or maybe it hasn't happened yet simply because there's probably a big absorptive capacity. When people find a new resource, more people are going to use it. So maybe it's too early for that. The second one, and maybe more important one, is there, as a part of this, a recognition to increase capacity of non-armed officers for public quality of life things? And one thing that's come up, and we saw it in the community survey results that just came out, and I actually heard a lot about this from dads at a local monthly dad drinking thing. Apparently, when people have small crimes happen, like a thing stolen off their front porch or something like this, oftentimes you need documentation for whether it's through insurance or whatever else. And a very common complaint particular to our district is people are not getting their documentation of police reports, or they're not completely filled out. I've seen this come up about 10 times in the last 6 months, which is why I wanted to flag it. So whether that's armed or unarmed, I just figured unarmed is cheaper resources, so that's how we can better allocate our budgets. But yeah, do we have the capacity? Is that part of this remit of what you're describing for those other administrative parts of quality of life issues that happen?
So, good question. For the second part of your question, to an extent, the newly formed quality of life officers, we are direct liaisons to other city agencies. Between us, if someone's calling in for, let's say, a homeless individual that's sleeping on the sidewalk, cop with a gun and a badge going up offering shelter services isn't the ideal. We will reach out to Department of Homeless Services or things of that nature, intake shelters, so they could come on the scene, assist us in that job, and so we could get, a better resolution. In regards to the shoplifting conditions, the complaints, the city made it possible to do your own complaint reports, which is a public version of the reports that we do. For insurance purposes or for reporting purposes, let's say you want to report it to the shipping company that this package was received, however, it was stolen by an unknown person or a person that you have captured on camera. You guys could also do your own version of the report, so you don't have to wait 6-7 hours for police officers to show up, take your report. Unfortunately, for shoplifting conditions, it's considered from the City of New York an emergency response. I don't believe that we could liaison and send, let's say, unarmed associates to take those complaints. So it still would be the police department.
Totally. That was in reference to Amazon packages on front porches, but totally understand.
Okay.
Thank you for answering the questions.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else a question over here? Kathleen?
Yes, on the Consumer Affairs Committee, we often hear about something that's not actually our purview, but it is that clubs and restaurants that offer valet parking are taking up public spaces, and not only that, sort of stepping over the line in some cases to demand that the locals pay to park. And as I said, we've heard it several times from our committee, and I'm wondering if that's the sort of thing that Quality of Life would examine and what they would do about it.
Yes, good question. So one of the recent valet complaints that we received is from Code Lounge up by 201 Steinway. They are the biggest violators with the illegal valet parking that we have currently. I informed all the Quality of Life team officers that if they happen to see or receive any complaints, we have a zero tolerance policy. We're going to address those complaints with enforcement. The valet employees or employees of Code that are parking these vehicles that aren't even really theirs, it's the customers that come to Code, those vehicles are supposed to be receiving tickets, A summonses, even though they're not the individuals that parked them. The actual valet employees that are illegally parking these vehicles on sidewalks, bus stops, crosswalks, they're going to be receiving criminal complaint summonses. So they're going to be issued a court date. If they decide to miss that court date for whatever reason, then they're going to have a warrant out for the rest. So the approach we're taking on these illegal valets is the enforcement approach. If it's possible that we could set up some sort of mediation meetings with the owners of code, tell them that we're receiving these complaints from the community, like an excessive amount of complaints from the community about their valet misuse. If we could go that route, that's what the Quality of Life Division's about. We're trying to solve these conditions without getting our hands dirty, without doing enforcement. Enforcement, you know, for the police department is unfortunately the last step. If we do need to take enforcement, we always will.
Thank you. Thanks. Chris?
I also have two questions, and I'll try to be quick. Have you been receiving a lot of complaints about the 21st Street Queensbridge F train station? It's a little bit alleviated since the construction has begun inside the station, but a lot of really, really struggling, folks struggling with drug addiction, you know, literally sort of like zombies, kind of using that space as a place to consume drugs. I want to stress I am not trying to criminalize these individuals. My organization has been getting a lot of complaints and concern about that. And also, again, not trying to have folks swept away, but maybe think about where all of the street vendors who have popped up at the entrance to the station could be resituated. It becomes very, very crowded and difficult for folks to get into and out of the station when the bus lets out, and then folks from the Queensbridge houses themselves also struggle to get to their local station. I'll go to the second question after you address that.
So in regards to the F train station by Queensbridge, transit for the City of New York Police Department, they also released quality of life officers. That is, from my understanding, is one of their chronic conditions. So I've been down there, I want to say the last time I was down there was around 2 weeks ago in regards to a 911 call. The amount of individuals that you're referring to, they're still there. I'm presuming they're homeless. I don't know for a fact if DHS actually gave them a visit. Usually when they do, they give us a heads up, but because it falls under the transit department, the transit district, they would have that information. But I've been down there, I've seen them. That's like their second home, pretty much.
Yeah.
The issue is with DHS, if they offer them services or if they set up encampments, we could address that. If they offer them services and these individuals refuse, unless there's some sort of other external circumstances, we cannot force them or legally remove them from that location.
Of course.
It's also the area around the station, just to be clear.
Yeah.
That's my main train
Inside,
stop.
outside?
So it's, yeah, it's not just in the station, it's definitely that, but it's also just the surrounding area, the bus stop, everything around there.
The benches along 41st Avenue in Queensbridge houses
Yes.
also, yeah.
So one of the conditions that I mentioned earlier, 41st Avenue and 22nd Street,
Yeah.
I'm presuming that the individuals that hang out because of the weather or things of that nature went on 41st Avenue and 22nd Street out of the public view 1 block away from the Queensbridge station. Now they're sitting outside there underneath some overhanging areas to stay out of the weather, and they're unfortunately doing drugs there.
Right.
So because that's topside, technically it's considered topside, it's not down in the transit station, that's one of the conditions that we are addressing on a daily basis.
Great, okay.
Okay, thank you. I'm coming around. Go ahead,
And one
Kurt.
last thing, we'd love for you to come to speak to the Public Safety Committee, both you and Officer Tovar, or some combination.
Absolutely.
It's really important that that committee and the folks who join those meetings hear from the precinct on a regular basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Corinne?
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Can you please share with me what is being done about the surrounding areas that, and community people that are selling without vendor permission or license, since you are aware of that and there are a lot of them over there? It also clutters the area, and it's kind of like an eyesore, so it's a lot of it. Are we checking to see if they have permit? Is the Department of Health called? Are you guys, have you made referrals to the department? It sounds like maybe you didn't because you would know, you said.
Yes.
If the department, maybe we can amp that up and do regular visits from the department homeless shelter.
This is in regards to
Division.
the area of Queensbridge?
Absolutely. I'm sorry, I'm from Queensbridge. I'm the TA president at Queensbridge. And it's a huge issue. We have some people who are literally cooking on 21st Street. They have their grills out, their tables out. That, to me, in my experience, I don't know the law, but it sounds very illegal. It's a health and safety issue.
Yes.
So if you're aware of it, I want to know what is the plan of action moving forward. How often are we addressing it? They're out there every single day. They're in the subway on top, like you said, every single day. So if we can make referrals to the Department of Homeless Services, then maybe they can come out more frequently.
Yes. So I agree with your statements. The issue that we're facing right now is any complaint, 311 or 911, that the 114 precinct receives, specifically around that area, is redirected to Housing 9, PSA 9, the satellite house by Ravenswood. Any complaints of illegal vending, homeless encampments, things of that nature, chronic conditions, quality of life conditions, the 114 precinct, my officers and I are not even receiving them. They're going straight to the officers that are assigned to Housing 9.
The Q team?
So yes, I want to say 3 weeks ago, Housing itself launched their own Q team. So if this is a chronic, I understand what you're saying. I am going to refer them. We are in direct communication with the Q team of PSA 9, Housing 9. Those officers are going to be the ones to directly deal with those conditions. The barbecues on the sidewalks, the vendors that are too close to the businesses. In terms of other locations of the 114 precinct, we are trying to resolve those conditions of illegal vending and outside without licenses, the health conditions without any sort of enforcement through mediation with community affairs. If they are parked up or set up close to any businesses, that's in direct violation of the vending permits. So we could definitely address that. But in terms of if Department of Health was notified in regards to those jobs, I'm not going to have any information if the Housing Q team already addressed those.
So my question is, it's on both sides. So it's on the side of Housing and it's across the street. That would be 114, correct?
Correct. In terms of geographical location of the
Exactly.
complaints, correct.
Right. So it should be a combined effort, wouldn't you think?
Yes, it should be a combined effort. The issue is, let's say we get 10 complaints from the other side of the street that is zoned to the 114. Housing receives its 10 complaints in the jurisdiction of the NYCHA residents. What the system is going to do is combine those 10 jobs each to make it one condition into a 20-call condition. If the condition derives from the side of NYCHA, from the side of PSA 9, they would be the ones to directly correct those. They would be the ones to handle those.
So, okay, I get it. Just give me a second. It's my community. Moving forward, I want to know, as a community leader, what can I do to track what's being done? Who would I contact? That's what I would like to know. How do I track what's being done? The efforts from
Yes.
114 and from the Q team.
So that would be directly from the Q team officers, my team, the night team, Housing 9's team. So if, let's say, any one of your community members or yourself puts in a 301 complaint, if you decide to, you guys can stay anonymous, but if you decide to leave a phone number, a name, a callback, an email address, we could directly communicate with you. We are required under the new Quality of Life team to do callbacks. So if there is any phone number left in a 301 complaint or a 911 complaint, you should be receiving a phone call from one of the officers. So that is the direct line of communication that you could check. Hey, I made this complaint. You guys responded. What actually happened? So that's the best sort of communication.
Could you have cards though, right?
Yeah, we have
Okay,
contact cards.
Great. All right, Tom?
Does the Q team have jurisdiction over ICE matters, or does anyone in NYPD have jurisdiction over the ICE matters, complaints?
So this is coming from the police commissioner, the city of New York, and any city agency or employees of the city agency are not allowed to cooperate with any sort of ICE, immigration, DHS operations. They are also not allowed to use any one of our facilities. If they are, our legal department has to get involved, and it becomes a higher issue. But you see any officers walking around, they are not allowed to communicate with ICE. They are not allowed to do any sort of joint operations. They're not allowed to assist them in any sort of way. However, if any criminal matter is happening, let's say there's a disorderly crowd that gets violent, physical, ICE officers or anyone in a uniform is being assaulted, New York City Police Department is still going to take action on that criminal matter. But the New York City Police Department is not assisting in any sort of way for any ICE operations or immigration-related jobs.
What about the victims of that complaint?
Victims for the complaint of...
Being harassed, being assaulted, being undue process, being chained and put into a truck.
So we could definitely take complaints for those. By the time the 114 precinct actually receives the complaints, that individual, let's say if they're subject to ICE removal, is not going to be present for us to interview to where we could document this, that this incident happened in the 114. Most of the times, from what we've been hearing, ICE is doing removals at courthouses outside of the confines of the 114 precinct. But if there's any individuals that are trying to make complaints for improper removal procedures through federal agents, most of the time they don't even come down to the 114 precinct.
Okay, thank you. Oh, Stacy, you have your hand up. I don't have my glasses on. I couldn't tell if it was your hand or someone else's. Go ahead, Stacy.
Hi, thank you for being here. So it seems like the way that you're deriving what to respond to is largely from 311 complaints. We love data-driven decision-making. You also said that you are responsible for responding to traffic complaints.
Yes.
And with traffic complaints, sometimes you have situations like the valets where it's clearly like one business, but you also have cars or vehicles that are, moving and in transit, and maybe, you witness someone double parked illegally or someone blocking a bike lane, but that's kind of a momentary thing, right? So either that data doesn't get entered because no one makes a complaint for this sort of transient issue, or it's something that's not immediately observable. So what do you do in cases like that where this condition might exist, but maybe the data doesn't necessarily back it up unless you're there on the ground with eyes to witness it? Like, let's say, going down Crescent towards Queensboro Plaza, right? Like, that bike lane is often blocked, right? People know that if they've gone there and seen it, but maybe that complaint wouldn't be entered into 311.
Yeah, so I 100% agree with you. The 311 complaints that we receive at the 114 precinct is where we're getting most of our so-called chronic conditions. 100% data-driven. The violations, if we walk outside right now, I could find 10 cars in violation that aren't parked properly. However, the quality of life team, what the division decided from One Police Plaza is they're checking to see if we're going to the chronic conditions first. Once again, based on the data. However, my officers know, the quality of life team knows on both teams, if we see any violations and that we could address there and then, they will do so. I'm not saying that's going to be 100% for any patrol officer that's responding to the 911 jobs. If they see a violation, let's say a car is blocked in the bike lane, but they're heading to a 911 job, the chances of them stopping, handling that blocked bike lane are very few. So my suggestion is once you see any violations, document it, call 311, reach out to the quality of life officers. If there are enough complaints, we could make it where the quality of life officers are responding there on a daily basis. If you're saying this is a chronic condition but it's not being documented, we could drive by, but we don't know what hours the bike lane is going to be blocked, what type of cars that are constantly blocking it, if it's the same repeat offenders.
Is there any kind of practice currently for to monitor maybe hot spots where something like this
Absolutely.
occurs? Okay.
So if you give me the locations now, we're going to take all that down.
Oh yeah, that
So
counts.
this is perfect day to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll wait, from me or to you?
Anyone.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we'll talk after. Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Richard?
Yeah, first I'd like to make a comment, and then also, actually, the traffic issue was what I was going to bring up also. Maybe you can further expand on that. First of all, the comment is, I worked a lot with the NCO program when it existed, and one of the big problems we had when the NCO officers came, when they met with the people in the civic group I'm with, or in different situations, they always gave out their contact numbers. They were trying to establish that kind of relationship. But I would constantly get calls from the people that I was with, said they called a number and nobody ever got back to them. There was no central location to call, like was brought up before, where somebody else brought up about having a central operator or somebody to handle these kind of calls. I think that it's imperative that you make sure that you don't make the same mistake here. Because frankly, after 2 or 3 times of somebody calling the officer, not hearing back, they just stopped. They didn't care anymore. And it totally emasculated the whole program.
Absolutely.
So you have to watch that. Now, in terms of the traffic, I'd like to get an idea here. Are you rolling the traffic department from the 114? Is that being rolled into the quality of life now?
So the traffic officers that were formerly assigned to the 114 precinct, some of them have become quality of life officers. What the upper brass decided to do is downsize the traffic unit and rebrand it into traffic quality of life.
So there's a quality of life within traffic now.
Yeah, there's a less amount of officers directly focused going out there and producing traffic violation summonses and tickets and things of that nature.
And
so
then
that
what
unit
kind
itself
of,
was downsized.
And then in general, what kind of programs are you going to use? Because one of the big problems we have in quality of life around here is the chaos around a lot of the roads. With traffic controls being ignored by all parties. Cars, motorcycles, bicycles. I mean, there's a lot of chaos out there.
Yeah, I
Are you
agree.
ever going to have a situation like right now you have vehicle stops for cars where you're going to be checking every car that goes by. Is there ever anything to do a similar program but for all kinds of vehicles, not just automobiles, when you're stopping and checking everything?
Yeah, so the issue is recently the department changed its pursuit policy for the better nature of it. These individuals that are driving other vehicles such as the mopeds, referred to as fart vehicles, the ones with the loud exhausts and modified engines. These individuals understand and know if they see a police car, they don't need to stop. They will take off. The police department is not going to be in pursuit of these individuals anymore based on the safety complaints and the change of department policy. What we initiated as a response to that is more checkpoints. I understand checkpoints is going to be a little annoying in regards to building up more traffic because vehicles are being blocked to go through that checkpoint. But that's one initiative that we have taken. I want to say in the last 16 days, we've done 19 checkpoints, including all vehicles that come to that location. So even though the officers that were assigned previously to traffic-related conditions has decreased, we still do have a team that's going out there on a daily basis to address traffic. The issue is, let's say vehicles are taking red lights right in front of us. Officers have to visibly see that infraction, that violation, in order for us to enforce it. If they are responding to jobs or the corridor on Northern Boulevard, because that's where a bulk of our activity is coming from right now due to the complaints, we're taking a lot of vehicle collisions, pedestrian injuries on Northern Boulevard. They're going from one end of the precinct all the way back here. And by the time they get here, the violation that was being reported is no longer here. So that's one of the issues we're facing, but we are responding with checkpoints.
Thank you.
One last question. In terms of the delivery services.
Quick, Richard.
Oh.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, it'll be quick. Delivery services. Are you going after the actual delivery services or just the drivers?
So if there are moving violations that are being committed by these drivers, they are the ones responsible for that violation. They're the ones that are getting the tickets. If there is a company or a commercial establishment that has multiple drivers employed by them, and that company is sending these guys out, and they're constantly making these violations, we will go to that commercial establishment and address it from there.
Yeah, because to be blunt, the reason why these people are scofflaws is because how they're getting paid and how to make a living.
Exactly.
The company forces them to act like that.
Okay, thank you. Christina, final question.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. I'll try to be quick for the sake of time. I just wanted to uplift that I think a lot of the substance abuse that's happening is a consequence of all the hotels that were built in this district that then, after COVID, became homeless shelters, and now folks are no longer participating in these programs and don't know where else to go. I think it's a symptom of a larger housing crisis, and unfortunately, whatever. I think we need to do better for supportive housing in this district. What I really wanted to ask is what is, for quality of life issues I'm experiencing that I keep observing, particularly in Rainy Park, is large dogs off leashes. Mind you, I have a 2-year-old, and I'm always at that playground with my 2-year-old, and it worries me that one day a child might be harmed. I've also recently seen dogs attack each other, and so I don't know what accountability looks like there, but that's kind of my question. Like, what does accountability look like? I made a 311 complaint, but there wasn't any follow-up. And then my second question was uplifting some concerns from ladies behind me, if you guys are aware of the sexual harassment that's occurring from a particular gentleman, and if there's anything being done about it.
Yes.
Thank you.
So the first part, in regards to Rainy Park, if you do put in 311 complaints of dogs off leash, quality of life officers are still responsible to respond to those conditions. We would try to mediate that situation without doing any enforcement. If we could talk to the owner of the animals, the dogs, hey, you got to put your dog on a leash, it's a violation of park rules and regulations, that's the approach we're going to take. The moment the officers leave and the owner decides to unleash or off-leash his dog again, we would have to receive another complaint, or the officers, if they're around the area, we could go back. Then, once we give them a chance to correct the condition, we would do enforcement on that. Is enforcement actually going to solve the problem? Because once the officers leave, he's going to off-leash the dog again. So it would have to become, once again, it's data-driven, it's going to become a chronic condition, where now officers are going to respond to that location on a daily basis between, let's say, for example, 10 a.m., 12 p.m., and now we're just going to enforce dogs off leash. That's what it would probably come to. In regards to the individual you're referring to, the commanding officer of the 114 precinct, Inspector Lynch, he is all hands on board in any sort of apprehension that we need to do to assist the district attorney's office to finally put this guy away. I can't give out any specific information, but I can tell you right now, I ran his report before coming here, and he was arrested 44 times.
Oh my.
The issue is, once we arrest him, it falls under the jurisdiction and the decision-making of the court judges and what they decide with the attorney's office and the prosecutor's office to do from there. What we could do is, if any violation is occurring, any crime is being committed, any act of disorderly that you're witnessing from this individual, police department will respond. We'll take the necessary steps to do what we're supposed to do. If there is any crime that he's actually committing, he will be arrested. The whole precinct in the 114 knows who this guy is. We know where he's hanging out. We understand that he may or may not have some sort of psychiatric condition. However, if he commits a crime, that's the initiative that we're taking. So the precinct is aware of him, the higher top brass is aware of him, and we're in constant communication with the attorney's office.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you accepting the invitation to come and speak tonight. These are, I think, big changes, and it's important for not just the board, but for the community to hear about these. So thank you again. And, you know, please come back. If you heard from our public safety chair, it'd be great to kind of have a ongoing communication with the public safety committee as well. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to move on with our first public hearing item, which is 11-14 35th Avenue, a fresh certification. An application filed by Point Property LIC for fresh certification of a 2,300 square foot grocery store within a new 9-story mixed-use development in Ravenswood. The site was originally rezoned in 2018 from R5 to R6A-C1-3, facilitating an 8-story, 87,000 square foot residential building with 74 dwelling units, 23 which are MIH. So we have the applicant here to do their presentation.
Should I talk over the audience? Yes. Guys, can you
Okay,
take
any conversations, if you don't mind just kind of going out into the lobby, that would be great, just so we can get on with the presentation.
One of the
Thank
rare
you.
times I can talk back to a police officer and not be threatened.
Just hold on one second. Okay. Okay, whenever you're ready. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Richard Bass. I'm with the firm of Ackerman LLP. I'm here tonight with Leah Vallone, who's going to be pushing the slides. You all have, some of you have printed copies, but the show is on the slide projector. Can I ask a question to the board? How many of you were board members 8 years ago? Could I see it? So not many, actually. So this site was rezoned 8 years ago, and at that time, the project was smaller, it had less units, it had less affordable units. The new owners have purchased an additional tax lot, and because of the change in City of Yes, the project is bigger. Leah, could you go to the next slide? So the rezoning occurred on 12th Avenue between 12th Street between 35th and 36th. The site in the northeast corner of that block was the original site. Next slide, please. So this is what it looks like now. It's grown, it's almost doubled in size. So instead of 77 units, it's now 165 units. 44 will be MIH. There will be 22 one-bedroom, 22 two-bedrooms for the MIH. There's the unit count in terms of the distribution. I'm giving this as information from the Land Use Committee. This was a question. Normally in a fresh certification, all we're talking about is a supermarket. And fresh certification allows for up to 20,000 square feet of additional space in the building. Basically, it's a one-for-one replacement to encourage supermarkets in areas where there are no supermarkets. So that's what the Fresh program is about. To be honest, I'm not sure why the Fresh program refers these applications to community boards, because you're not being asked to opine on whether it's a good place for a supermarket or if it's the right size, but it's part of the public review. So that's why I'm here, not to be snide about it, but this is a good thing. It's across from Ravensdale houses. It's an improvement over the last project because it creates more of a pedestrian scale on the ground floor. Next slide, please. And this is what the supermarket will look like. This is more a DOB type function because the bonus space has to meet certain criteria for a supermarket. And there'll be a restrictive declaration filed against the property, so it can only be a supermarket. If the supermarket goes vacant, the C of O is affected because you're getting a 20,000 square foot bonus, so to speak, to replace the square footage for the supermarket. Right now we have a letter of interest signed by a Brooklyn supermarket chain. We're also still negotiating with other supermarkets, but there will be a supermarket when this project is completed. That's basically it for the presentation on a Fresh supermarket.
Thank you. Stephanie. Liz? Hi, can you hear me? Liz? Hi, Liz, do you have any comments from the committee?
Comments, yes, I have one comment. And that is, I wish you had given this presentation at our meeting, because the hours I spent getting all of the information to make comparisons with what we approved and what is being proposed at this point, you know, it was a couple of hours I had to spend.
To further explain Liz's point,
Yeah.
this isn't my project. It's not my matter. It's not my client's.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you doing this.
And there was some confusion between the board office and my colleague who filed the application. So I kind of danced at the land use committee. I figured I would make the presentation and save some time and effort on my colleague, and that's why I'm presenting tonight, Liz.
I appreciate it, but yeah, it's a significantly larger project than it was when it was first.
Can you go closer to the mic?
Yes, I can. Actually, I'm so low in this chair. It's a significantly larger project, so that was why I did all of the research to find out what was going on. There were no. We'll get comments from the members of the committee and also the community board, because we didn't have the opportunity last month, the beginning of the month. The only thing that I thought was that is a very significant amount of window that's going to be on the ground floor, that's only going to be occupied not by regular retail, but by a supermarket that usually puts signs and advertising, et cetera, rather than produce or something visual. Is there anything in the regulations for fresh supermarket that addresses that situation? It's an aesthetic thing.
No, it's a pedestrian safety issue. I think the more glass and more clear glass, both in and out, is best. I'll pass that on to my colleague and to the owner of the site, and we'll get you a better answer.
Okay. You answered the question. I had to do my own research about why it was so big, and I found about the acquisitions that went on during the last couple of years. But the question I had was, is that supermarket, what is the supermarket that they're talking about now?
Rosemary Grocery, they have a number of places in Brooklyn, I understand.
Williamsburg, yeah. I think that's the only one I know.
Right,
yeah.
I hate to admit I'm not familiar with
That's the only one, but, okay. At this point, no, I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to hand it over to Tom, because he just needs to make a disclosure quick.
I just have to disclose that my wife is employed by the presenter Ackerman, so I'm accusing myself. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Richard.
This is a question I always ask about the Fresh program, twofold. Number one, actually, if in fact the supermarket goes out of business, but the extra 20,000 or whatever foot has been constructed and is part of the building, you're not going to evict the tenants, or you're not going to tear down that extra bit of building that was built. So if you can't find, if one supermarket can't make it, maybe another one can't make it. So who decides? If you come and say, hey, we want to put a drugstore in here instead, who is the decision maker for the city on how that is justified?
Richard is asking a really good question on the Fresh program, and it's a relatively new program, so there's not a lot of experience. The Department of Buildings, because it's a C of O issue, and it's a restrictive declaration on the property, so if a drugstore moved into the supermarket, it would be a building code and C of O violation.
Right.
My understanding when the Fresh program was designed, that if a supermarket went out of business and didn't go through the new process to undo the restrictive deck, that certain number of units would have to be vacated, and that the top of the building, the 20,000 square feet, would become vacant.
I had heard, and maybe this is not the case anymore, that the commission actually would look at that and make a specific decision based upon that, not through DOB.
They now, again, practical consideration, there now is a procedure for the commission to evaluate that. But let me give you a scenario back. Let's say the supermarket goes in, they're there for a year or two, and they go out of business. It's doubtful the commission would go, oh, let's give you, free 20,000 square feet, you tried. I believe at that point, 20,000 would be vacated and they would have to be closed.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Bobby?
Yeah, I had a follow-up question to what Richard was talking about. I was curious if you knew roughly how long of I assume there's a grace period from, if you can't get a tenant when the building is first, tenant meaning the grocery store in this for the Fresh program. If you can't get someone in as the building is being built, or if, say, for example, the one you brought in goes out of business, do you know how long there is allowed, for the property owners to find a new tenant before it becomes a sea of...
I don't know that answer, but I'll get you the answer tomorrow. I'll send it to Florence and she can share with the board. That's a good question.
Thank you.
Can I just add to that? There is a whole process that city planning has developed certain thresholds have to be met when there is where there's a vacancy required because there's no longer a supermarket down there. So there is a system in place to watch over that, but I don't know the numbers, the days, the months, et cetera.
I'll get that answer and the specifics on time.
Thank you. Christina?
Hi, I also spend a lot of time, like Liz, trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together to make sense of this building. And so one of my questions, going back to the early documents, was that there was an agreement for outreach to Ravens.
What I would make a commitment to is when we do, that operator will meet with the community board and discuss issues of hiring and food stamps. I would believe any supermarket would accept that in New York City. But those are legitimate questions. I don't have an answer for you, but there's an appropriate time when we do have someone signed up that they should meet with the community board and hear those concerns and answer those questions directly.
I agree, but just wondering if the applicant is already doing that groundwork.
Well, since we only have an LOI signed at this point, that's like going on a second date. Who knows where it's going to go?
Okay, thank you. I look forward to hearing.
You're welcome.
Okay, Dominic.
Hello. I'm surprised there's not an obligation that a lease must be somehow presented to for the approval of the presentation, but that's not my question. Is there a minimum? You say 20,000 maximum, but what's the minimum size of supermarket that they would need? I know that it's 1-to-1 and they'd have a penalty of anything 20,000 minus, but what's the minimum in the program? And last question, what's a supermarket use group?
There is no minimum. It's more driven by the market.
Like box stores of different sizes, different zoning?
I've seen fresh stores as small as 6,000 to 7,000 square feet. The maximum is 20,000, and it really is dependent on the market, the size of the site, the size of the building. So it varies. So there's no minimum. There is a maximum.
Okay.
Supermarket use group.
I think it's...
I should know the use groups for supermarkets. I don't anymore because they changed use groups. When I reply in the morning, I'll share that too.
Colin, do you know the use group? No? Okay. All right.
It used to be
if he
6.
doesn't know, why should I?
Okay. Liz?
Yeah, I have one question. One of the findings that the chair has to make to grant this fresh designation is that there's not an oversaturation of fresh markets within a half a mile. And I was looking at the map for the area, and it shows that there are 2 others, each within about 4 blocks of this proposed site. Fortunately for your applicant, they have not been constructed yet. So what do you think will happen? How is that going to...
My understanding on fresh applications is city planning determines saturation. We've been turned down on certain fresh applications because there were too many supermarkets either existing or planned for an area. So on this one, I defer to city planning. If they said you know, the application's good, then we're good. How's that for a backwoods answer?
Does city planning have any response?
Ryan, do you have anything to add to that?
Colin, yeah?
Sorry to set you off.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you all again. There is a saturation effect that comes to fresh projects, and it's actually in the application itself. There's a saturation memo and a map there that shows where that project stands within the queue of projects that could be seeking a fresh floor area waiver. So yeah, with respect to this project, it has not reached the saturation level yet, so it was able to proceed. But you know, the map describing that is within the package for the land use application.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's board questions. This is a public hearing item, so is there anyone from the public who would like to speak for or against this project? Okay. All right, then, we'll close this item and move on to item number 2. That's 3301 11th Street. It's a ULURP application. This is an application filed by the Catholic Medical Board for a zoning map amendment from R5 to M1-4/R7A, and a zoning text amendment to establish an MIH area to facilitate a new 10-story, 213,000 square foot mixed-use development in Ravenswood. Is the applicant here? Oh, you are the applicant.
This is my application. I'm Richard Bass. I'm again with LLP, Ackerman LLP. I'm again here with Leah Vallone and the project architect from Datner, Beth Greenfield. This is an application for a change from an R5 to an R7A MX zone. Though it's a residential zoned area, this is a warehouse that the Catholic Medical Mission Board uses for dispensing medical equipment to the developing countries around the world. They would like to continue their mission, maintain a warehouse activity on the site, have community facility use on the site, have their offices on the site, but also have residential development. Again, I'm going to ask for a show of hands. How many were on the board when the area-wide rezoning north of Broadway went through? So 3, 4. So when that 200-plus block rezoning went through, city planning promised to come back and rezone south of Broadway. Well, for lots of reasons, they didn't. So what's been happening south of Broadway is there's been, your board has primarily seen this, a block-by-block rezoning. My office did the block north of this site, west of this site, and south of this site. And another law firm, Greenberg Traurig, is doing the block to the east of the site. Leo, next slide, please. So this shows the site. It currently exists, there's 3 tax lots on the block. The majority is owned by Catholic Medical Mission. There's 2 minor lots that are auto repair slots. Next slide, please. Next slide. Here are some of the pictures. Kind of a nondescript 1-story warehouse. And just to give some background, this is an R5 from the 1960 approved zoning resolution that came into being in 1961. The study for it happened in the mid to late 1950s. So the existing zoning is almost 70 years old. We're in a housing crisis. We need more housing. Next slide, please. So this is what the actions are. It's actually 2 actions. One's a map change from the R5 to an R7A/M14. It's a mixed-use district. Also, we're amending the zoning text to make it an MIH district. Next slide, please. On the left is the existing zoning. You can see the R5 kind of in the middle. As I described before, what's north, west, and south of us, have a bunch of different letters and numbers. Those are the 3 rezonings that my office did. The map on the right is the proposed zoning that would be, we would correct the hole in the donut. Next slide, please. And this I have to put on my glasses because I can't read it from there. So the numbers. This would be a 10-story building with almost 213,000 square feet of development, 186,000 residential, 258 dwelling units, including 70, actually, that's a mistake. It's not 77, it's 66 permanent affordable units. We lowered the number of units, but increased the number of 2- and 3-bedroom apartments. In discussions with the community board at a previous informal discussion, we were urged to make more family-sized units. There'll be almost 14,000 square feet of warehouse space, about 9,000 square feet of local retail, and about 3,400 square feet of community facility. The next slide shows the ground floor function. Next slide, which I think is the important slide. Leah, that one. So you can see what we've done is the blue is the project we're talking about tonight, but you can see the outline of the 3 rezonings that this board supported when they came through. Next slide. This is what it will look like in terms of the articulation. Next slide. A different angle, again, the articulation. And then the last slide is the slide dealing with the number of units in terms of 66 affordable units, 258 total units. 26 would be, I'm sorry, I'm losing my space. 42% would be 2- and 3 bedrooms, 18 would be 2 bedrooms, 10 would be 3 bedrooms. And that basically is the presentation. I know that's a lot of information to absorb, but this board has seen the 3 other zonings, so this should feel a little familiar.
Okay, questions? Okay, Christina, then Richard.
Oh boy, do I have questions. Oh my. I'm just trying to wrap my mind over $1,000 for a studio, over $1,100 for a studio. That's really nuts. I guess this is more a question for the board. Considering all the rapid gentrification happening in that area, specifically around Socrates Park, is this something we really want to support? I think 25% is the bare minimum, 25% MIH, and even MIH is not enough, particularly for extremely low-income families. So then I guess my question for the applicant is, are there any units available for extremely low-income families that make less than 30% AMI?
First of all, the AMI and the price per unit is set by HPD and by the federal government. So we and you have no control over that. 20% of the units will be for the homeless. So yes, it will be deeply affordable.
At over $1,100 for a studio? For a studio. Right? I mean, and that's the other thing. So the point, why do we have to go through the homeless shelter to get affordable housing? There's just so much going on. I'm sorry.
Again, what you're expressing is something I've seen at every community board I present at. We're governed by the HPD and federal guidelines. The only way the subsidies will be deeper is if the federal government or the state or the local government put in more money. As you guys have watched the news and read the newspapers, our federal government is making that even more difficult. with tariffs on steel and aluminum making construction more expensive, it just makes these projects harder to do. Currently, there's a 5-year waiting list for affordable projects at HPD. I heard the other day that might slip to 8 or 10 years waiting list. What you're describing is a real problem. I honestly don't have an answer. I can only tell you what my project can do by the zoning rules and by the HPD rules, but I hear what you're saying. I don't have an answer for it. That's a societal answer I don't have.
Okay, Richard, and then we'll go over to the other side.
Yeah, I seem to remember, it could be the wrong property, but is this land contaminated and it doesn't need, is it a brownfield? I think it was either this one or the lot next to it. And also, I just want to comment that just to the west of that, there is a 14-story building going up, so it's zoned for 14 anyway, so that basically would show that the 10 stories would be in context.
Right. It's not contaminated, but we will be doing more ground testing when the building is demolished. It's very hard to punch holes in an existing building or in the existing auto repair place. The building to the west was a special permit. You got, again, to explain, some of you may be new on the board, rezoning actions only affect the zoning map and the zoning text. We have an idea of what we want to build, but it's not a site plan. The building to the west that you mentioned, Richard, was a site plan. It was a special permit because that owner wanted to do multiple zoning districts and multiple uses, and they crafted the building to those uses. So you got to do a site plan review. You're not doing a site plan review tonight.
Okay, so there was no contamination. What was on that property before?
To the west of us?
No, your property.
My property, it's still there. It's a warehouse.
Just a warehouse.
They store medical equipment.
Ah, okay, thank you.
May I respond more to Richard's
Go ahead, yes.
comment? The environmental review is put an E designation on the site, which means that in order for them to get their permits to build, they have to, in this case, it's for air quality and for soil, I think, contamination. So they will, let me verify.
Actually, the E designation is for air quality and noise.
Noise.
DOB, even without the E designation, DOB would make soil testing a requirement.
I know that it's probably next door, but there was a very toxic property down there, I think right next door.
May I just finish for a moment? The information that I got from the EAS that I received or was online was that the E designation was for hazardous materials and air quality. Noise was not a factor.
Okay, I apologize.
So they'll be doing tests for that, and then subsequent to the evaluation and analysis of it by whoever does it, they'll get their permits to build.
Okay, thank you. Kathleen?
Yes. Actually, this is a question that hit me when I saw the name of the project, and I wonder who owns it. Is it the Archdiocese of New York, or of Brooklyn, or of Rockville? And if it is a church property, will they be paying taxes on all of the apartments that go up? I mean, income taxes and property taxes, because the church, after all, is a tax-exempt organization.
This is not an Archdiocese property. They're a separate nonprofit. They're called the Brooklyn Medical Mission Board. So they probably at one point spun off from the Archdiocese, but they have, in all my dealings with the Archdiocese, this is not one of their sites. I usually get the question of whether a site is being used to pay off legal fees, but that's not the case here. And in terms of the future ownership, it will be a condo ownership. The warehouse section will still be a nonprofit. The rest of the building will be for profit and will pay the appropriate taxes.
Okay.
So the housing for the formerly homeless, they will own them as condos?
It will be either, HPD doesn't have a very strong homeless or affordable home ownership program. Normally what happens is the rental units would be one condo unit owned by an entity, and they would pay taxes on the units, like you pay taxes on the unit you live in.
Can I follow up just to make sure I'm understanding this correctly? So these are rental units or these are condos?
The market rate units at this point, our thinking is that they will be condos, and that the affordable units would be rentals, but they would be structured as a single condo unit. So let's say there's 10 condo units, 9 would be owned by 9 of you, and 1 would be owned, would have 10 other rental units in that 1 unit.
And who owns that one?
That will be owned by either the developer or, I'm not sure, that's a good answer. We haven't worked that out, who's going to own the affordable units.
Okay. Katie, and then Ryan.
That sounds very confusing and frankly is unfair to potential buyers, since we know that wealth, intergenerational wealth, comes from property ownership. So I would suggest that your team and the organization speak with HPD about their affordable home ownership program, because it does exist. It is through a lottery, and there is not enough of it. So in order to allow residents an opportunity for ownership of a condo, we know that supply is not even close to the demand in this community and citywide. But what you're describing just sounds awful and really wouldn't benefit people in the long run. So I would suggest that you actually speak with people that do this for a living, that Housing Connect staff, and speak with them about doing that, because this just doesn't seem sensible. Thank you.
I appreciate what you're suggesting. I only gave you one scenario. I'm doing a project on Coyle in Brooklyn. We had discussions with the governor's office. They have a little bit stronger program on home ownership than HPD, and so we're trying to mix and match in terms of what makes the most sense. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, if you even look at the Fabric building, they had an affordable housing lottery to own. They have a rental building and they have a condo building. There's a potential, another project that's coming where Ricardo's, the catering hall, used to be. We need more of that in this community, not less. Rentals are great. We need more. Let's saturate the market and let's actually see if the prices come down. But people want to continue putting down roots here, and it would be great if a not-for-profit such as the one you're working with could get on board with that. Thank you.
Ryan.
This corridor along Vernon Boulevard has some pretty intense traffic, especially due to the Costco right there, and the roads are very narrow. What is the applicant or the city doing to ensure that this development is not going to exacerbate the traffic?
Well, the applicant's doing nothing in terms of traffic improvement, and this is why an area-wide rezoning south of Broadway would have been more holistic. Doing rezonings block by block by block by block don't solve an existing larger problem and a future problem. So I'm giving you a planner's answer, but it's a non-answer. It's going to be, how the city, your council member, your community board addresses existing and future problems.
Understood. And does the redevelopment include a parking lot or a parking garage?
No. The council member before City of Yes asked us to remove all parking, and we would have had to do a special permit to do that. Under City of Yes, we're not required to do parking, and so the council member was quite happy with us.
Thank you.
Liz, and then Christian.
Have you selected a sponsor yet to work on this? But
No.
obviously, you've got a condo and you
No,
can...
we're, this project took, as you know, these projects take way too long. And so to get people to, buy into a project is difficult. The nonprofit, after this is hopefully approved by the city council, will then, initiate discussions. I know they have hired a broker to find a partner with them because Brooklyn Medical Mission isn't a developer. They're going to need someone to partner with.
Christian?
Who's the broker? Colliers. They're the broker who worked on the Boys and Girls Club. They were the brokers who worked on the Boys and Girls Club that you guys approved some years ago.
Thank you. Is the developer committed to have any kind of area standard wages over there? Because, every time we see construction over here coming to Astoria, Long Island City, workers are being exploited. They're not paying the right wages, and you guys are building this condo out of control with the rents, with the prices and everything. So there's any document, or you guys gonna come up with something to police these contractors that are coming over here to, do all those kind of things?
That's a complicated question.
No, it's
Under
not.
485X, there is a base pay for even the people waving the flags to move people
I know what
along.
that is.
So if currently the project would comply with 485X, so we would...
Oh, it will comply with that.
We've also made a commitment to 32BJ that we would be a union building.
You telling me there's going to be a union building with all the construction and
No,
everything?
for 32BJ.
Well, that's the, afterwards, just to keep
Right.
the place up and running. All right. So definitely it's 485X. You guys are taking all that. All right. We're
I
gonna
didn't
follow up
hear.
on that.
You are going to use 485X or no?
Well,
You just say yes.
I don't know of a project that's not doing 485X. There's a couple that are trying to get around the 100 unit requirement, but they're being cute. This project won't be cute. So that was a long-winded answer to yes, we will do 485X.
You are planning on doing it. Okay.
So you guys gonna keep, try to keep a standard, wage on that project?
Yes.
And also check on the subcontractors. They're not doing the right thing, because that's happening. It's a reality.
I will share that with my client. Again, that's a discussion we haven't had, but I will share that concern with my
Well,
client.
you should, because that's it's construction though, and it's a concern that is targeting all our communities, and it's happening, and everybody's turning a blind eye in what's happening over here right now. But me telling you this is because I see in a every daily basis. I'm an organizer though, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm seeing this, and I appreciate you being here and you being honest, telling us, oh, I don't have an answer, and that tells me a lot. With that being said, I really hope if you guys move forward with this, to do the right thing, because it's so easy to come to a community and start doing, I'm not saying you, but people that you guys gonna hire just to save a buck here and there, not doing the right thing by the community.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, Richard, final question.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment on the condominiums and the MIH program with the condominiums. One of the problems with it is that you're restricted as to the amount of increase in the selling price above what you purchased it. So in terms of the way the program is now, to get generational wealth, it's almost impossible. So you really need that needs to be relooked at, because if you want to purchase a property like that, have a mortgage, but you're not going to get the appreciation of your investment, then what's the point?
Well, that's maybe for you, Richard, but I think other people might feel differently, right? And actually, there is some appreciation. It's just set at certain levels. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else? Okay. Is there anyone in the public who would like to speak for or against this project? Please step up to the podium. Sign in.
I'm Neil Hurton. I'm going to put my residential hat on. I am 37 years now in Astoria. So my question to you is, what kind of retail are you hoping to attract? And what is actually you described in the community center part of the building? My concern is that in terms of retail, we really need mom and pop stores in there. So, for example, I wouldn't like to see a Kmart or a big blockchain store coming in. Can you respond to that?
So it's going to be local retail. By zoning, we're not permitted to have big box store at this site. Big box stores are limited to 10,000 square feet. We're not anywhere near that. But we're looking at local retail, and in terms of the community facility use, we want to look at what's going to happen to the other developments. If we precede them, then we will have discussions with the community board leadership. Is a after-school program appropriate? Is a daycare program appropriate? But if the building to the west of us builds a daycare center, we're not going to put in a daycare center. So we're going to be talking with this community going into the future, because we want our retail and our community facility to serve the community and to make sense. At this point, I don't know what those "its" are, because it's too early. But we will have this ongoing dialogue with the community on what is really needed and what's appropriate at the site.
Okay, next person, please say your name, sign in.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? My name is Kimberly Elliott, and I am the president of Astoria Houses currently.
Speak into the mic, please.
I said I'm the new president of Astoria Houses currently. My deal is with this. 11th Street, is that where you're going on? Is now a main street, because Vernon with Costco's, the traffic goes back to Vernon and about 30th Road. That's where I live. So we don't even go that way anymore with the traffic going into Costco's. We normally cut down 11, try to come up a back way. So now you're going to be on 11. You're not concerned with the traffic that's happening over there. The area is, the community is. And I had to make sure that you're in the right spot I thought you were in. That's the street the majority of the community takes down at this point. We don't take Vernon anymore. We take 11th off of Broadway, off of Vernon. It's a little cut through right there. So you're sitting right there on top of us. You must be worried about that traffic. And even if you come down Vernon, you normally would turn up, go up 21st Street, which is now horrifying, and come down by LIC High School and come back up 11th, because it's the only way to get past Costco's. Costco's going in from Astoria Houses and coming from Ravenswood, the traffic is a nut job. So when the quality control police, I was like, this is where you need to be. There needs to be another lane here for the turners. It's becoming dangerous for pedestrians over there. So nevertheless, of what you're doing and not considering the community at large, and besides the home ownership, partial, maybe, rental, that is not something you should be bringing to us. You should really know. I don't come here often, so some of the jargon to me is like, what is that? My deal is when I do sit down here, I want to be told something that I can understand completely and I really don't understand. And if you're gonna do a home ownership for part of your condos, not just a studio apartment, because we do have families that want to stay here who are being priced out. I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
time,
done.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak for or against? Anyone else? Okay, last chance. We're going to close this hearing item. Thank you so much. And we're going to move on to the next part of our agenda, which is public session. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Item number 3. Item number 3, which is BSA the gas station permit, 3102 Astoria Boulevard. We heard this. So it's just an update, I believe. So hopefully this will be pretty straightforward. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is May Abdurrahim. I work for NJK, Nazir J. Kamzada, in junior office. So I'm here today for 31-02 Astoria Boulevard. Just a brief history. This site it's a gas station site, right? It was built in 1938. During 1958, the building was extended and they received it in CO. Last time I was here, we want to propose a Ford dispenser because it was approved during 1994, but was never built. So we would like to propose as a Ford dispenser. However, it was rejected by BSA due to the traffic, and also we put in our mind for consideration for the community board how they kept complaining amount of traffic around the area. So we are keeping everything the same it is from 1958. We're no longer changing anything. It's going to be still two dispenser, 4 tank, and the building is going to remain the same. However, we would like to update the CO since 1958. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Anything else did you want to add, or that covered it? Liz? Okay, great. Go ahead, Liz.
We didn't have any comments to make at the committee meeting, but my question is, we wanted to know whether or not the Board of Standards and Appeals, when it heard this, entertained the thought of putting a term on this action so that there would be, review of what goes on the station and how it's functioning and impact on the community. It's operating without a term, which means that nobody's really looking at it until the owner wants to do something. So I wanted to know if this was brought up to BSA, because it was in our letter.
I'm sure BSA looked at it, because one of their question was the truck. For example, if the truck is
Could you speak into the mic, please?
Sorry.
'Cause
So yeah, one of their question was like, if the truck is going to fill out the tank, right? How is it going to affect the area? And we explained it pretty well. We're going to close the site in a certain time, and it's going to be filling during the midnight, which is going to be around like 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. And it's going to take 20 minutes every 15 days. So it's not going to cause any traffic. And we're going to make sure the area is going to be, the site itself is going to be cleaned. There's extra stuff that was built from the past, like for example, the closed storage, that's going to be removed completely. There's some stuff like bins that's going to be completely removed. We're going to keep the site as much as clean as possible. But again, just because we're not doing that much on the site, we just want to renew the CO. That's the only part we have right now.
So there's no term limit on this now?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? No? Okay, Dom?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
So I don't know if we discussed this last time, but in the new awareness of pedestrian safety in my neighborhood specifically, based on what's happening, I'm really aware of your 3 curb cuts. So my question is there any way you would consider eliminating that small middle curb cut that really doesn't seem to go to your dispensers at all? So that's my question. Is that clear? You've got 3 curb cuts. You got 1 in, you go to your dispensers, you got 1 out, you come out for your dispensers on the next street. I would, if possible, it would be a great suggestion, I think, for pedestrian safety to get rid of that middle curb cut.
That's actually a really good point. From my last meeting from BSA, we were told that we have extended the curb cut and it does not match with the plan from 1958. So we have to reduce some of the curb cut and match it with 1958. So that was one of the part that was brought up in our meeting.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Anyone from the public who'd like to speak for or against? Okay, we're going to close this item. Thank you so much for presenting. And now we're going to start our public session. This is where members of the public are invited to speak. You're limited to up to 2 minutes per speaker. We don't have our sergeant in arms here today. Tom, you'll do it? Okay. So up to 2 minutes. Again, if you can be less than 2 minutes, that works too.
Sounds great.
Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. This past weekend, something remarkable happened on 31st Avenue. The street didn't just open, it came alive. Not with traffic, but with possibility, with color, creativity, and the kind of energy that reminds us of what community really means. Project NYC hosted its first ever tween and teen makers market at the 31st Avenue open streets. 20 young entrepreneurs from age 8 to 17 set up shop, shared their stories, and showed us that the spirit of small business is not just alive in Queens, it's thriving in the hands of our youngest neighbors. There was a mocktail stand run by a 12-year-old mixologist, a bracelet business launched by an 8-year-old visionary, handmade earrings, crochet accessories, original music, all crafted by kids who weren't just selling products, they were building identity, building confidence, building community. And they weren't alone. Teen volunteers from local high schools showed up early, stayed late, and made sure every vendor felt supported. They didn't ask for credit. They just did the work. That's leadership. That's service. That's Astoria. Now we know that streets don't transform themselves. It takes people. That's not just impressive. It's a model. A reminder that when we invest in our youth, when we trust them to lead, they rise every time. So tonight, I'm not just here to report at an event. I'm here to say thank you to the families, to the volunteers, the vendors, and the neighbors who made this moment possible. And I'm here to make something clear. The kids who showed up, the teens who lead, the community that believed, this is the blueprint. This is the future, and it's already happening right here in Astoria. Let's keep building it together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And you didn't say your name, so just say it for the record.
My name is Ted Saus. I'm the Executive Director of Project NYC.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Jennifer Lopez again. So I'm here to talk about WhatsApp group that we made in regards to a man, Malik, that is terrorizing women in Astoria. Kimberly and myself co-founded the group. We have an admin over here, Paulette, and right behind me, Rebecca. I've had countless mothers and other people come up to me and tell me how much this man has affected their life in a negative way, how much people in Astoria are afraid to leave their houses. We have a WhatsApp group where we have to go on and say, this section is clear of Malik. This section is clear of Malik. Then there's reports of other men that are harassing women, sexually harassing women. There are reports of Malik going up to a youth, not even a youth, a kid, summer camp, exposing himself, his genitals, and doing things that I can't talk about here. He gets away with it time and time again. You heard the sergeant say that he's been arrested 44 times. He has not been in prison. He gets out the next day. He even says it when he's getting arrested. He says, I am just going to be out tomorrow. And we need solutions to deal with this. I've created the group, and it is scary that we have even had to create a group from a guy like this. It is crazy that our government in Astoria, in Queens, has not done anything about this. And I would love to have the city, CB1 do something, or help to do something, or give suggestions on doing something about this. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Rebecca Herford, and I've lived in Astoria for about 7 years. And I have always found Astoria a safe place. My landlord, my elderly landlord, who I am fond of, has also felt safe in Astoria her whole life. She's been here most of her life. And I was just disturbed to hear accounts of people I know and accounts of people in the community being harassed, and I began to also not feel safe in my community. I've joined the What's Up chat. I started a petition. We have over 1,000 signatures, and over 400 people have shared it in an attempt to get the DA's office to pay more attention to it. I understand with bail reform and the political process, there's all these like hoops, but I'm a big fan of information campaigns. So even as some of my cohort here discovered that many women don't know the proper steps to take, they don't know they could contact the DA's office with their witness, they don't know if the police will help them. I would love to see the community board here maybe provide some solutions to getting information out there so that women can collectively, get help. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening again. I'm here with the same group to speak about the same thing, and I would like to reinforce part of what we are really interested in communicating is not something to do with someone who is harassing us, but a greater sense of community and being able to talk about this with our community. We have consistently received the response that we should look elsewhere for help with this, and it would have felt like a community response, and what we're still looking for is a greater conversation about how do we keep our own selves safe when there is nothing to be done, given the way our bail system is set up, given that someone does have to commit a crime to be arrested. I fully respect that. What has been, I think, almost scarier to find is that the rhetoric that has taken over is that we should individually protect ourselves, that we should take a self-defense course. That to me seems unacceptable from our elected officials. I would much rather someone say, let's sit down in conversation and talk about what we can do together to maintain the sense of safety that I personally have enjoyed for decades here, and just not enjoying the same way. Summer did not feel the same from the day this man tried to break into my daughter's summer camp for the next 7 weeks afterwards. And my ask then would be that we be in greater conversation when not just this type of issue happens, but anytime there is a safety risk to especially the women and young girls of our community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you coming out, and we do have a public safety committee and also a communications committee as well, because I heard two things. One is like figuring out solutions, and the other is just educating people what to do if that happens. So I'm just going to flag that for those two committees.
Hi, my name is Gloria Maloney. I'm with the Dutch Kill Civic Association. I just wanted to say that I was here the last meeting in June, and a lot went on, but I watched the end of your meeting after most of the people left, and you were still here, and you were discussing Long Island City, one LIC. I appreciate the amount of time that you took to discuss this issue, because it was really important to the people that live in Dutch Kills and in that area. And I saw that you took it seriously, and you took a lot of time to decide how you were going to vote, whether you're going to vote yes or no, with stipulations, without stipulations. I don't know what the final vote was, because I couldn't really access the committee meeting that happened after that. So I'd like to know what that was, but I really want to just thank you all for taking this matter seriously, because it is a very serious matter. Now, can you give me any idea of what happened?
Yeah, sure. I don't remember the exact number, but it was something like 22 or 23 voted in favor and 11 against. But we did, we voted in support, but with stipulations. And we
Correct.
had
And
a very
what were the
robust.
What were the stipulations?
Oh,
do you
there are
know?
a lot. There are a lot.
Oh,
so
okay.
there's
All
a
right.
whole
I
bunch.
see the city planning passed
Yeah.
it anyway.
No, not yet.
Not
so,
yet?
And I
Oh.
can tell you what's actually tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 17th, right? Tomorrow there is the public hearing in front of the Zoning and Franchise Committee. So that committee, which looks at land use, is going to be voting on their recommendation. And then after that, it will go to the city council for a full vote. But there's a period of time.
Okay, I thought I had read that
between
it had passed, so thank you very much. I
yeah.
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
Our opinion is advisory, but we did put forth very strong stipulations that we
Thank
hope
you.
will be considered. Thank you. Anyone else from the public?
My name is Rudy Sarkezi. I've been on this board for 22 years. I'm a part of our Story of Monetary and the Civic Association, which I started in 1996. So it's going for almost 30 years. The only things I do is for the better of the community. The only thing my concern right now, which I have, look like a story, I don't know, other part of the city, but look like it's like a country where it's 100 years ago. If you go to any street, especially in the side street, the garbage is all over. And, I hopefully there's somebody with the sanitation or the DOT, they can bring this issue and see what they can do. We did try to put the sign, which the borough president, all the agency was there, which agreed to put the sign there. Now it's almost a year and a half, nothing is happening. Now if you go drive by the BQE, north and south side, by the cemetery, and you see how much garbage there. If you go on the story, the Andorti Park there, around the Stanaway, 19th Avenue, 18th Avenue, the garbage they dump is all over. They did clean it they have those RVs there for years ago there in park. They started to keep it there out. But if you go any street like this, I walk on Didymus there, and you see by 31st Street, somebody goes there, you go there in 10, 11 o'clock, garbage is all over. It looks like it's one of those old country, where you want to call it. If you go, someplace else, that's where you see, you're not going to see it. So if you can, somebody do on a community board and get involved.
Yeah, Rudy will, I know that that's been an ongoing issue, so I don't know if recently you've contacted the board office about that, but we can follow up on that. I would also say that earlier today at 6 we had our capital and expense budget hearing. So I'm hearing, even though you weren't here for that you want to see increased sanitation services. That's something that you'd like the city to do.
And the DOT should be involved with that. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Wanda Oliver. I am my mother's caretaker. My mother travels in an electric scooter, and sometimes I have to travel with her, and there's no charging stations outside. I don't understand. You have all these electric bikes now. You have electric scooters for seniors. The buses are too overcrowded for me to get on the buses with her walker. I just want to know, why don't we have these electric chargers outside just like these phone chargers today? Like if we can possibly get someone to start installing them. Because when I go out with my mom, I have no place to charge her electric scooter if the power runs out. She got stuck in Astoria Park. Instead of them taking her home 4 blocks down, they took her to Mount Sinai. I don't understand why they took her to Mount Sinai. They called me like 5 hours later while I was in Brooklyn to come pick up my mother. They wouldn't even charge her bike in the hospital just so she can get home. It was really hard for me to get back. I told them just keep her overnight. Because I just don't understand. There's so many seniors out there with these electric scooters, so many people with these electric bikes. They don't want them in the apartments. They don't want you charging them in the apartments, but there's nothing to charge them outside. If someone can just, maybe put that into consideration to see if someone can put these out there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so there are locations you can call the board office tomorrow, and in this area. I don't know if there's a citywide map. More are being installed, but I think that is also something that we could advocate for in our capital, or at least consider that in our capital and expense budget request as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else from the public? Okay, we're going to close our public session and move on to our board business section. First item is the adoption of the June 2025 minutes.
Yes.
Can I have Marie, second is Amin. Okay, any discussion, questions, corrections? No? Okay, we'll take a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. Chair's report, I just have a few things I want to mention to you. I believe it was Gloria, I don't know if she's still here, she brought up one LIC. As I mentioned, there is a public hearing tomorrow. You can sign up to testify, whether you're for, against, in between, whether you feel, you have a strong opinion one way or another, or you want to see certain things stipulated. We have sent our letter, and been in contact with the council member's office just about, what our reminding them of our stipulations. But you can go to, I guess, the city council website and sign up to testify if you would like, or if you're just not sure, just, yes. Christina, you had a question about that?
I just have a question. So was our proposal with the stipulations actually, as well as CB2's stipulations implemented in the proposal? Were there any changes to the proposal? Do you know that they'll be voting on tomorrow?
Not that I know of.
I heard that there were no
Not
changes
that I know
whatsoever.
of. I guess Colin would know that, and maybe he could let us know. Some of the stipulations have to do with commitments for infrastructure, for more deeply affordable housing, all that. As far as I know, none of those commitments have been confirmed, but that the negotiations are ongoing. But Colin, would you like to address that?
Sure, thank you for your question, Christina. So there have been no changes to the project between the board referral and where we are now in the process, but there's still there are opportunities, and the council member has received the board's recommendations, and I don't want to speak for her, but I'm sure she'll be taking them into consideration while she goes through this process. Thank you.
Okay, so I just wanted to emphasize that on one LIC. Anyone can testify tomorrow at that hearing. You can do it by Zoom or to go down to City Hall in person. Also, just wanted to thank folks for circulating or filling out the Community District Needs Survey. The link is still open. That survey gives us data in terms of what people are interested in seeing funded through our city budget. So please do continue to send that out to people, have them fill it out, and we'll be using that information as we kind of finalize our capital and expense budget priorities. So just wanted to emphasize that again. I wanted to just go over, if you're going to miss a board meeting, which you all don't because you're all here, right? Everyone's here. But if in the future you need to miss a board meeting, whether you're sick, whether you have travel plans, work, whatever the case may be, just please, let us know. And I say an email is always best because then there's a written record, right? If you tell me verbally or call whatever, just send an email to the board office and please copy me just to let us know if you can't make a meeting. Attendance is important, and that will be an excused absence, right, if you let us know, but if you just don't show up, it's an unexcused absence, and that will be factored in by the borough president when they do their reappointments. Just wanted to also let you know that Raga Madella has resigned. She's going to be moving. So just wanted to kind of let you know that one of our board members has stepped down. I will be doing a committee chair training. A lot of people have asked for that, so I'll be setting that up at some point in October. So stay tuned for that. And then also just wanted to mention, make sure it's on everybody's radar. There are going to be ballot proposals this November, and they do impact the role of community boards as well. So I'm hoping at the next meeting or before the next meeting, we can kind of circulate some information about that. But as you may know, the mayor commissioned a charter commission to hold hearings and then make recommendations. And so there are going to be several proposals on the ballot this November that our city will be voting on. So just wanted to just flag that for everybody. That's really it for me. I will hand it over to Florence for the district manager's report.
Sorry, my mic isn't working. Before I go into my report, I wanted to let you know that Alex Kipp apologized for not being here. I did include in your packet the written information for you. You can take this home for conflict of interest in case it affects your livelihood. So that is there, and also the material is online on our resource page. So I wanted to welcome you back from the summer hiatus. We hope you had a wonderful summer. Our office has been servicing the residents of our community throughout the summer. Preparing for capital expense budget review due to the new system being introduced by the Department of City Planning Budget Division has been all-encompassing. Our office has also worked with the community on a multitude of constituent complaints and services, including but not limited to Buildings Department complaints, Department of Transportation complaints, and sanitation complaints. Our office would like to thank our representatives and elected officials for their assistance in finding resolution for our neighbors. Our office also worked very closely with the chair and vice chair of the Consumer Affairs Committee to review an extremely large number of licensing notices from state and Department of Transportation Outdoor Dining Division that arrived in the office. We would like to thank Community Affairs for their partnership over the summer to assist in our office and the committee leadership. Our office has worked diligently to improve the quality of life for our neighbors, and we hope to see the fruits of our work grow through the benefits of the community. We are now preparing for capital expense budget fiscal year 27. We hope you, the board members, will work with your committee to identify for the list. As you know, capital budget pays for the cost of long-term construction projects, purchase land and equipment. Reconstruction of streets, sewers, parks, buildings are examples. The capital budget financed by the sale of municipal bonds plus state and federal grants. The expense budget pays for city day-to-day operations such as salaries, supplies, and debt service. It is supported by the city, by the city taxes. The capital budget pays for costs of long-term construction projects, purchases, land, and large equipment. Reconstruction of streets, sewers, parks, buildings are examples. Our office has emailed the capital expense kit, which also can be found individually on our resource page of our website for your use. The Department of City Planning has provided community boards with a link to a survey they created. This survey is meant to provide a snapshot of what the residents feel about the needs of our district. Our chair has asked to have the survey circulated as it has, and our office is encouraging you to share the link with your networks, as the chair just said. Thank you for all you do for our district. Welcome back, and we hope that it's a productive fiscal year. Thank you for your services.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to do committee reports now. Business and Economic Development. I don't think Brian is here, right? Okay. We are going to move on to Capital and Expense Budget.
Hi. Thank you for hearing from me multiple times this evening. As Florence mentioned, we've been working on the capital and expense budget, prep work for the summer, we have a new Excel chart that the city has provided where we are asked to place our request items by committees. So for all the committee chairs that I've responded to so far, there is a new sheet. What I'd like to do is then send it to the other committee chairs that I haven't reached out to this summer yet. Many of the committees who've heard from me have items from last year, which I populated into the new format. So I'll circulate, to the rest of the chairs with this new format. The difference this year is that we've been asked to limit our requests down from, on the capital side, from 50 to 40, and on the expense side from 50 plus, we've traditionally put in a lot, down to 25. So really, really, kind of looking at our priorities with chairs, your committee members, to really talk through maybe, 3 to 5 top ones so that we can really vote and put into the next FY27 a full list. And of course, a lot of the continued services or continued support items will remain on there, and then other items that have been completed, we'll remove. But there's still a lot of work ahead, and we need to get this to Florence before the end of October. So hopefully by the next October board meeting we'll have the final list. So you'll be hearing from me quite a bit, and of course, feel free to email me. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions about process? Yeah, Chris?
Amy, so on the new format, are we simply to add any new items that are not carryovers directly onto that spreadsheet in a new row or column?
I think just to start, I think it'll be a good way for us to look at everything overall, right? So just, fill it in, send it back to me, and we'll make sure everybody's, all the other committees have items in there as well, and we'll talk through them.
Great. But I mean, within the priorities for public safety, it's okay to add a couple if things have bubbled up or come up tomorrow evening.
Feel free to. Yes, thank you. And feel free to remove anything that you can say, hey, let's delete this, put a note in there, so we'll have that note. Thank you. Yes, Richard.
Yeah. So can the committee just give you their top 5 or 10 of each item, and then does it necessarily have to be on a specific spreadsheet? And then you take it, and then you're going to populate the spreadsheet.
I'll be happy to take your 5 items and put them in the sheet. Mm-hmm. And then let me know if there are items, again, to remove from last year's list.
Yeah, we'll probably just give you a list of the top 5 or 10 or whatever we have, and then you have that as a tool, because irregardless, you're going to merge a lot of these things together anyway. So. Exactly. Okay.
Thank you. Amin?
Yeah. Do we have any data that how many was completed last year, budget? Because I'm so confused. We make our decision, we are sending it. How much is done and how much we don't? I'm little. I'm curious to know that.
I just out of curiosity, because I'm also a data person, I did a little chart that showed what percentage overall went into different committees. And then taking a look at what the responses were from the city last year, what's been completed, what they support and can't support. I mean, what they agree with and can't. I mean, I have these categories. I'd be happy to share them, with everyone. I think there were maybe 4 that were on the continued support list that are now complete, like Rainy Park. We all know, it's up and running. Everybody's enjoying it. Things that are long-standing support that finally got built. So those are nice celebrations for all of us, right? That we.
If you could just send us those information, that would be nice. Thank you.
Absolutely. Shahanas.
Okay, as I see also in the list, when it's completed now, I don't have to put it in I take it out.
I think so. Thank you. Have fun, everybody.
Yeah, and I will say it does take time, right? So, it sometimes can take several years, right? Sometimes some things will never get funded, but it's not like we put it on and they're like, oh yeah, sure, great, I wish.
It is nice to know that how much.
Yes, But it is important, right? It also like goes to the borough president. He then allocates his funding as well. So it's really important part of the process. And the city council member sees it as well. So what we put forth does help influence as well. So it is important work that we do. Okay, great. Anything else? Or you're good? Okay. Communications and public outreach. Quinella, you want to give an update?
Okay, so Monday we had it was Monday, right? Yeah, okay. Today's Tuesday. This week is going fast. Well, anyway, so yesterday we had our second meeting, and we did come to, some people suggested some outreach and some areas, some places. That's something that we're going to get together, a list. And I'm going to contact Florence about picking up some giveaways to attend some of these events. Also, I was just doing a little research on a newsletter, which Katie is excited about participating in. So, yeah. So, it's a lot of work, but the only thing, we just need to know what we can and cannot do. So that's something that I need to speak to you about.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that would be helpful, what we can and cannot do. But other than that, I'm excited, and I'm hoping that our next meeting will have some groundwork and get out there and do some outreach.
Thank you. So if people want to do outreach, so when there's an opportunity, we'll put it out there,
Yes.
right? If people want to join you in doing some tabling at a street fair or some other kind of community
Yes.
event. Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have education, libraries, and youth services.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone had a wonderful summer. We are having a meeting. Finally, we found a city representative talk about the prevention of the drug, vaping, marijuana, and cigarette. So I am inviting everyone. It's coming 29 of this September 29, 6:30. So if you could just join with us, so we can finalize our letter. We wanted to send that. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Environmental sanitation. I don't think Patricia's here. Yeah, so I guess I'll have her give the update next month. It was actually it was a joint meeting with transportation and environmental and sanitation. The strictly environmental, well, no, it was actually both. I was going to say the battery storage. There's a potential battery storage site. So I'll just have her give the update next month because it's not like it's happening right away now. It was just presenting us with a plan. Okay, so we'll move on there. Health and Human Services, Shahanaz.
Hello, everyone. We're going to have our meeting for starting this year in September 18. Please try to come join us because we're going to discuss the capital and expense budget, and it's really important to discuss with all of you. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. Housing, Katie.
We had our meeting, I can't remember the date, 2 weeks ago, and we have the same, so this is for Corinne and Amy. I owe you the rankings of our items for the budget, and that's one report. And the other report is just related to the news of Innovation Queens falling apart, which the board was heavily involved in 2022, so over 3 years ago. So that's a good lesson for all of us to see the amount of effort and time on people that were for the project and against, and how sometimes things just don't happen. So let's see what will come there, but it's very interesting. And there's articles were produced, and you can Google it. But I just wanted to share, if you didn't hear that happened earlier this month.
Thanks, Katie. Okay, going to move on to land use and zoning. Oh, and Andreas is here. Have you been here? Or did you sneak in? What? All right, okay, got it. I was like, wait a minute. I don't have my glasses on, but I think that's Andreas down the end of the table. So Liz and Andreas.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is the vote on the fresh certification. Actually, it's not a vote, this is a non-ULURP item, but it would be good to have a vote on how you felt about putting it into this building. The building itself is not part of the non-ULURP item that we're looking at tonight. So, but your comments can be a consideration that is put in the letter to the chair. The chair is going to make the decision. The chair of city planning will make the decision on whether or not the issue of, what's that word? There's more than two. There are two other ones that are there right now, potentially. So there would be three in a very small area. So he will make that decision, or his staff will analyze it. But it's open to discussion at this point. Since there's no vote, there's no motion to be made. But your comments will be forwarded to the chair in a letter from us, from the board.
Are you, yes, Richard?
I just want to reiterate with the program, the Fresh program.
Oh wait, we're not discussing yet, right?
Discussing it, okay.
Right, so let's.
What?
Are we discussing? Don't we need a motion?
She said discussion.
No, we don't need a motion. There is
Oh,
nothing.
because we're not voting?
This is a non-ULURP. Well, it's up to you. I mean, I can put a motion. I could put a motion on the floor that to encourage to approve the fresh certification on this project.
We don't have to.
Yeah.
I just was sorry. I was actually trying to decipher something here, and I got a little sidetracked.
No, I think it's a good way to go. Be consistent.
To
have a vote.
Okay.
In support of this particular fresh certification.
Okay, is that your motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a second from Frank. Okay. Okay, any discussion? Richard?
Yes. I just, this program was changed. It originally was very, when it was originally developed, it was really based along really low-income areas where there wasn't any fresh produce. There was bad food choices. But they changed the whole program a few years ago, and they really expanded it tremendously so that it reached all the way up to, like in our area, 31st Street. You've got next to existing supermarkets that have been around a long time. In general, I don't like the idea of this whole program. If I owned a supermarket and then 3 blocks down the road, another one opened up with this kind of break, either a tax break or a break for the developer, I'd be extremely upset about that. So I don't think it's fair. And in general, I just don't like the whole concept unless they go back to the original program, which was based only on places that really needed it. And that's my feeling.
Okay, Frank?
This is just a point of information, perhaps for the committee chairs. My understanding was there are no tax breaks. You just get more square footage in the building equal to the size. Is Fresh anything more than the additional square footage?
There are 2 different programs, but they're the same. They're within the Fresh program, but there's 2 different. There is a tax break, and then there's also some when you get additional bulk.
What is this one?
This one's bulk.
So not the tax break?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. Anyway.
All I know is that, no, we don't have privy to that information. You know, we just get the information concerning the floor area that is, the additional floor area that's granted. And in this case, they're using 18,000, they're allowed to go up to 20,000.
Great, thank you.
Amy had her hand up.
You know, perhaps Colin can clarify that.
Well, this is also for Colin, because I think I'm a little confused about the saturation of the markets in an area of within 3 blocks, is it? And so if these if this project gets it, does that mean the other two projects who's not started their construction yet will not get their fresh certification?
Sure. To the first question, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. There is a tax incentive. It is also by geography. They are not necessarily coterminous with each other, the zoning incentive and the tax incentive. We do have layers for where those are on our zoning and land use website, Zola. Encourage you all to play around with it. It's really fun to look at the zoning in the area. With regard to the saturation in fresh areas, the saturation is determined before construction, even before certification, or before the certification is granted. So it doesn't have to do with construction or timeline per se, but when the project goes through, the city planning pipeline.
So it's feasible that there could be 3 fresh certificate within blocks of each other, which I think is great, but
The saturation calculation is a little complicated, so there's a chance that might not be the case, but I can't say for certain. It's based on a radius of proximity to each other, but generally is intended to make sure there's not, an overuse of this program in any given area.
Okay.
May I make a comment?
Chris? And then...
This is a question, and I realize we're only voting on the fresh, but Liz, is this, and I apologize if I should know this, is this full space going to the market at the expense of community space that could be used for the benefit of the community in other ways? Is there dedicated, I know that this is not a vote on the building, do you know if there's dedicated community space? And if not, has that been taken away because of the fresh designation?
I don't think so.
No, one doesn't have anything to do with the other.
Well, there's only limited space on the ground floor where community
Yeah,
space normally is.
I understand that, and in this case, it's the owners and the developers' option to use the space as they think is best for their purposes, basically.
Gotcha. So we don't, do we know if there is community space planned in this building? I didn't ask the gentleman earlier, and I'm sorry that I didn't.
Let me see what they gave us. We can only go by what they filed with city planning. Okay. So if they don't focus in on the development itself, I don't have that information. Okay. So I'll look for it, and if I come up with it, I will let you know.
Thank you. Based on this project description, it appears to be none. Thank you.
Okay, Richard, you had a...
Yeah, I just want to make one more comment on what I said before. The original fresh program in our area basically went from the East River up to Crescent Street, that area. What they did when they expanded it is they expanded it all the way up to 31st Street, with little exceptions here and there. This is where I object. It made a lot of sense for the area west of Crescent Street. But it never made sense on moving it up to 31st Street with all the existing business. This is why, in general, I'm just against it. Even not in this particular case, I'm against the whole concept.
Okay, but this is on 11th Street and 35th Ave, at that intersection. It's not on 35th.
I understand that,
oh, okay.
but what
All
I'm
right,
saying
I just wanted
is,
to make sure.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Any other? Yeah, go ahead, Liz.
I just wanted to respond about the community facility. I don't see anything in here with regard to that. Residential, commercial, that's it.
Thank
you. And you're right about the fact that it had been aimed originally to lower income areas, but this is one of the census tracts that aren't, fair to middling, so it can be argued.
Okay, any other comments, questions? Okay. All right, we'll take a vote since it's a non-Euler item. Okay, quick.
Just one last comment, just reflecting what I uplifted earlier about Ravenswood and the lack of commitment to Ravenswood, even though earlier documents mentioned it.
Okay, thank you. This is it's a non-ULURP item, so I think we can just do a raise your hand. We don't need to actually take a roll call vote. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
No.
Opposed?
Actually, let's do show of hands. Raise your hand, all in favor?
Straight up, boss. So it's easy to read.
What is the question?
Show the fresh certification.
It's to approve. I mean, the ayes have it
There's
anyway.
12 on that side, but some hands are just not up.
Definitely have.
Guys, don't hold your hand up.
Yeah.
Put it up over your head.
Okay, any, you got it? Okay, anyone opposed? Raise your hand.
Opposed.
And one cannot vote. That would be Tom cannot vote. Okay. All right. So the motion carries to support the fresh application. Thank you. Okay. Next item. Liz?
Hold on, I'm still writing. Okay. What is the next one on the, is that the
3301.
3301? You know, having three of these things at the same time, everything is converging, and I can't separate it all out. And okay, this is the rezoning for the Christian mission, right? Okay, 3301. Yes, there it is. Okay. To open discussion, I'm going to put a simple motion on the floor to approve it. The committee did not have any issues that arose with this proposed development. So not until tonight did we hear comments. With respect to 3301, I have to admit I did not know that the market units were going to be condo. I hadn't heard that.
It was never mentioned.
Okay. No, it wasn't. All right. That's why I don't know why the discussion came up, though. So, you know, we make an assumption when we're reviewing this. We get the material that's filed with the Department of City Planning and reread it. That is the Bible. That's what we go by. That's what we vote on. And, you know, what is proposed. If down the line they change it after it's approved, that's their prerogative. In fact, what we look at with respect to what they're proposing doesn't necessarily have to be what they built. They just cannot exceed what zoning allows. They can reformat the building in any way they want to, unless there's a restrictive declaration with the large-scale development, which is what we had across the street on 11th Street, that triangular block. That was a large-scale development plan that required a special permit. But so my point is that I'm to open discussion. I will put a motion on the floor to approve the fresh designation for this
Second.
for 3301.
Fresh second. No, it's not the
Not fresh.
I'm sorry.
This is
It's
Euler.
3301. Yeah, 3301.
I'm
So-
sorry.
It's okay. So, Liz, your motion is to approve 3301 11th Street rezoning, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. So motion. Okay, I mean, second. Okay, discussion. Kathleen?
Well, as we discovered, along with the fact that the market rate are going to be condos, they have no idea how they're going to administer the lower income housing or how it's going to work and if one owner is going to have it and anything like that. I feel like they are not ready to go and make this thing happen because there are far too many unanswered questions for me.
Thank you. Christina?
No, I second that. That's all.
Okay. Richard?
I just want to read something here regarding the condominiums. I know that you thought that somehow I'm against affordability, but I'm really not. If you want to sell a condominium that you buy under the MIH program, you're only able to sell at a price that factors in your original price plus allowed increases like inflation and improvements, but not at full open market prices. So what I was saying was that in terms of long-term creating generational wealth, it's not going to happen with these. You're almost better off paying rent as opposed to paying a mortgage, unless you want to start the mortgage to establish your credit or something like that. And what I think we should be doing is this program should be changed. We shouldn't have that restriction. Because generational wealth is very, very important. So, I'd like your comments on that.
Hold on. I just hands. Thank you. Go ahead.
I had my hand up, and then I put it down. I think this is a very valid debate, but this is the system that we currently have. So if we want to work on changing that, I'm all for it, and we should do it. But this is what is currently in place right now for so-called low-income New Yorkers. And if you look at the amounts that people are supposed to make, I mean, the whole system is broken, but this is what we have. And if it's a way to allow someone to own a property that they can then pass on to their heirs when there's no other opportunity to do that, I'm all for it. And I think it's fair. It's flawed. Everybody knows that, but this is what we have. So if there's a chance to do that with this development and others, it should be implemented until we can figure out something else. So yes, intergenerational, what is wealth? Owning a property and being able to pass that on to your heirs and have your money go into equity. But there are other programs and people that I know where after a certain amount of decades, you are able to do more than that. It's not just what you said, that is part of it, but we're talking about people, multiple generations of people in the community. They've been renting their whole lives, grandparents, third generation renters. Why not? They want to stay here. So that's my only point about that.
Okay, thank you. Corinne, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I have a comment in reference to generational wealth versus affordability to live, because that's what developers are doing. They're working on their generational wealth. We're not really trying to be a part of the solution if we're settling for what's going to help us to create generational wealth. And we're inundated with people who don't have a place to live. If we were to put aside what could be generational wealth and work on a solution for more affordable housing, we always settle for what's convenient. It's not convenient to create a plan for more affordable housing. It's easier to push the narrative to settle so that we can move on. And then we still have what? Communities that are inundated with people that can't afford nowhere to live. What's the advisory board here for if we just are literally laying down with the developers to do the same thing, capitalize on individuals' pockets of generational wealth? I'm not opposed to generational wealth, but not at the cost of being able to come up with a solution for more affordable housing. These developers that come with 44%, 33%, you can still make money with 100% affordable housing. You just don't make the same amount of money. Let's be honest. So, no, I'm opposed for the same reason. Like, what are we doing? We're putting a Band-Aid on, systemic. But we're part of that systemic issue if we don't try to come up with a plan to create more affordable housing. And affordable for who?
For the working poor.
We are all the working poor, in case y'all haven't checked. in New York City. It's two income household, two people gotta work to afford to live in New York City. Yeah, how about your kids? Send them to work too.
Okay, Frank? Thank you. Thanks, Frank.
For me, this is simple. For those who are unfamiliar, Austin, Texas actually has rents that are 20% less than they were 3-4 years ago, and it's because they built a lot of housing. So if we're going to build housing and a portion of that housing is going to be affordable, whether that's rent or own based, we need to build more housing. And just to model it out for y'all, if you have to renovate a house or an apartment every 20 years, that would mean, in theory, every year 5% of your stock has depreciated out of use. So we have to build 5% a year to maintain the same number of units. The math ain't mathin'. We got to build more. Yes, as we approve things, let's fight to increase the amount of it, that proportion of it that is affordable and the depth of that affordability. I agree with the policy that medium income is a shit metric. It should be tied, I think affordability should be tied to the minimum wage, honestly. We're dealing with bad policies, but we need to build more as much as we can. We need to keep building. That's it.
Okay, Dominic, and then Amin. Okay, let's try and keep our comments concise. Thank you.
So I'm really on the fence with this one, and I appreciate all the comments. I was looking at the FAR that they have as of right, which is R5, and it's 1.25. That gives them 50,000 square feet. They're asking for R7A, which is an FAR of 4, and they're claiming in their documents 186,000 square feet. So they're getting 324 apartments now. They're asking for 324 apartments, but the way I figure it, they would have about 100 apartments as of right. So it's an increase in about 225. I'm going to say 200. So because of the other spaces. So if they're getting an increase proportionally of about 200 apartments, and 66 of those are affordable, and that's disappointing. So I'm actually going to think about some type of standard table that we get. I think what's happening is they're jumping from R5 to R7A. That's a big jump, right? They don't usually make such a greedy jump. I'm probably going to vote for this because I agree with what Frank just said. But if we could somehow, work to have this 66 up to 100, as Corinne said, they would still make money, So so I just wanted to bring those numbers that they're probably getting 200 to 225 more apartments than if they designed as of right, and 66 of those 200 are offered as affordable.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Christina. And then Amin.
I'm just wary of the build more, trickle down economics logic because I just think about all of the 8,000 empty NYCHA units that could provide housing to New York City residents, over 200 between Queensbridge and Ravenswood alone. So I think we should do more on actually holding NYCHA accountable and making those vacant apartments accessible instead of having to just build new. And also, when you look at the vacancy rates for apartments that actually give affordable housing, when you look at vacancy rates for the for units that are expensive, it's a high vacancy rate. So it's not that there aren't enough homes, there just aren't enough affordable homes. So I just wanted to raise that up because that logic, real estate developers love, and it's really scary. Yes, we need to build more housing, but if the current system is not actually giving us what we need, then we need to rethink this. And so, going back to this applicant, I don't think that this was a full presentation. I think that we should say no, and they need to go back to the drawing board and come back to us with a better proposal.
Okay, Amin?
Often we talk about this affordability. We know that these affordable apartments are not affordable for the needy family, not for a postman, not for a fireman. So what kind of the affordability is that? Is there any way the community board can send the message to the federal or state government that these are the situation here? We all often fight, but we are not getting any benefit for the community. So I would recommend the housing committee, you can just send a recommendation to our city government and federal government to take care of these things. Like there should be a limit on that, and it should be affordable.
Okay.
Can you bring up how the land use and housing committees want to create a metric or to that point?
Yeah, the housing committee and land use committee talked about trying to maybe formulate some kind of metrics to kind of like guide us in our decisions. So that's something that we're hopefully going to be working on. I just wanted to add that when we did hear this presentation, and Liz, correct me if I'm wrong, but they had put MIH option 1 and 2, and we asked about that during the meeting, and they said, oh, no, we're just going to do option 1. And I'm like, well, then why does it say option 1 and 2? Why do you have that here? And they said they were going to take it out. Am I right?
I don't think anything's been changed.
And
It was
still here.
originally, actually, I remember seeing 1, 2, and 3, and I said, I've never seen 3 before, but
It's new.
apparently, there's, but that's not there anymore.
Yeah,
They're
and
just-
3 is the even more affordable, deeply
the-
affordable housing.
Right,
Yeah.
right. The lowest income level, yeah.
I think it's 40% AMI.
No, I haven't seen any changes, and I'm not aware. I mean, we wouldn't know it until it went through the hearing process at city planning.
Okay, if there are no more questions, then we'll do a vote? Yeah? Okay, great. Oh, Tom left. Okay, he was gonna. Yeah, he can't vote. Yeah, he can't vote. Okay, so the motion is to approve the project. So we'll do a roll call vote. I'll hand it over to Amy.
The rezoning, correct? To be concise, the rezoning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and also it's the MIH mapping too, right? It's 2 things.
Oh, okay, great, thank you for that.
Thank you. Is Michelle Amora here? Oh, hi. Your vote?
Approved.
Yes, thank you. Christian Batres? Christian? No? Keon Bentoncourt?
Yes.
Jerry Caliendo left, right? Christina Chase?
No.
Jacqueline Diaz? Not here. Stacy Ehrlich?
No.
Katie Ellman?
No.
Liz Arion, Elizabeth?
This is hard. I'm going to say no.
Robert Feltwell?
Yes.
Thank you. Dean Varachovic?
Yes.
Adam's out, right? Frank Fredericks?
Yes.
Shahana Hamdi?
No.
Evie Hunts, oh, do you do us? Okay, sorry. Chris Hanway?
No.
Amy Hauser, yes. Jacqueline Ibarra?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Vanessa's not here. Richard Kazami?
Yes.
Hugh Ma? Nas Magudas?
Yes.
Patricia's not here. Brian Martinez? Not here. Amin Mahidi?
Yes.
Andreas Mejias?
Yes.
Stella Nicolau?
Yes.
Dino Panagoulis?
Yes.
Phyllis Hara? Julia Payaba?
Yes.
Rosemary Fulveromo?
No.
Oh, thank you. Dominique Robinson?
No.
Thomas Ryan had to abstain for cause. Clinia Sargazy?
Yes.
Dominic Stiller?
Yes.
Marie Tornielli?
No.
Rod Townsend's not here. Is Judy Trillis?
No.
Okay, thank you. Ryan Van Manen?
No.
Mario Vergara?
Yes.
Kathleen Warnock?
No.
Quinella Williams?
No.
Corinne Wood Haynes?
No.
Thomas Wright is not here. Pablo Zuniga? No. Thank you. And Evie Hansopoulos, thank you. All right, let me tally.
Amy's going to tally. And I just want to say, I skipped over Consumer Affairs. I'm very sorry. So when we're done, we'll go back to you. Thanks, Marie, for letting me know. It's like my eyesight's failing, really. Okay, so 17 in favor, 18 against, and one couldn't vote due to cause. Okay, thank you. All right, now we're going to move on to the third item. Let's hear from our land use chairs.
The gas station. Okay, this would be a simple vote. I mean, I don't even know if it's a vote. They're just here to really update us. So, but we will send a letter to Board of Standards and Appeals, unless there are other comments that board members want to make be included. Fine. My issue, I would like to see that there is a term put on this, and I would put that in the letter. Anything else?
I think there was another suggestion about curb cut, and they did talk about how they're going to have to reduce the curb cut. Is there anything else that we would want?
It was eliminate.
Eliminate, yeah.
Eliminate the middle.
Yeah. Well, they said they have to conform to how it was in 1950. They didn't necessarily say that they were going to eliminate it, but I don't know what it looked like in the 1950s.
Oh, they said they have to revert to that.
They have to go back to that, yeah. So maybe it is the complete elimination. I just wasn't 100% clear. Okay, so I guess we can should we just take a vote on sending the letter with those additions? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Can I get a motion? Yeah?
Motion.
Shahnaz, second?
Second.
Okay, Amin, okay. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, great, thank you. Now we're going to go to Consumer Affairs. Kathleen, again, my apologies, I skipped over you.
Okay, we had our Consumer Affairs meeting. Go over the very long list that you received in your packets. At this point, we've decided with the outdoor dining applications, unless there is an overwhelming reason to call them in, we assume that they know what they're doing. So this is a story. They know how to do outdoor dining. And we had no reports or red flags from the 114. The 114 does consult with us and names anybody in the outdoor dining or the liquor applications who is a bad actor. The people who have applied for liquor licenses for renewal or new ones came in as a fairly solid group. The only two I want to discuss tonight are two new entities that are taking over two bad actor sites. So we called them in mostly to ask if they were related or had any connection with the previous people, and were assured they were not. We met with the owner and reps from MMLL Group, which previously operated as Animos and Brusco. And the owner and rep made it quite clear that they are in no way related to the previous owners, and they have signed STIPs, and they will be running a Middle Eastern restaurant. They don't have a name for it yet. The rep for Zone 10 also made it clear that they are in no way related to or connected to the previous tenants. We invited the owner, who was unavailable for our meeting, to attend the full board meeting. Is the owner of Zone 10 here? I don't see him. Okay, they have agreed to a 2 a.m. closing, and they are going to be doing Albanian/Mediterranean style food. They will do outdoor dining, but they haven't applied for that yet until they get their liquor license. Both of them made it clear that they will comply with the STIPs and participate within the community, and both specifically said there will be no third-party promoters. As for the cannabis license, that was withdrawn because OCM has asked them to find a different location. So yes, as I said, we did speak to the 114 about this, and there were no red flags for the stuff that's going on. this summer. We had apparently a fairly good summer. So now basically what I'd like to ask you are three things. One, to vote yes on the approvals of the outdoor dining. And two, vote yes to approve the renewals or new liquor licenses for all of the above unless anyone has any doubt about MMLL and Zone 10. We feel based on the way they presented themselves to the committee that they are not, in fact, related to the previous owners of those trouble spots. Okay.
Let's take it step by step, right? 'Cause
Okay.
those are different votes. So
Yes.
what's the first one?
I would like to ask someone to make a motion to approve the outdoor dining applications.
Motion.
Okay, so Dean and second Frank.
Any discussion? Okay, I'd like to call a vote. Okay. All in favor of approving the dining applications for outdoor dining, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Great. Okay, we then have, as I said, no weed licenses to think about. But with the liquor approvals, renewals, and new applications, we have found no reason to vote against anybody who has applied, and we did do some diligence on the two new applicants for old sites. I'd like to call for a motion to, okay,
Wait, what's the motion? To approve?
to approve all. Okay, now, is there any discussion?
Okay.
Yes.
No, I just, oh, sorry.
Kathleen, you can call on.
Richard?
Go back to the weed. Are any of the local dispensaries affected by the change in the law in terms of the distance from a school or a church or something like that? Because I know that a lot of
Yeah,
facilities-
OCM really screwed some people over.
Yeah, they really did. So did it affect? Just
That's
curiosity.
why we're not looking at this one, because they were told by OCM that they had to change their site. We have not heard from anybody else about it, but I have no doubt we will hear about it, because most of the stuff that we look at are people who are in preparation. So if they have heard from OCM that they must now move to a different site because OCM changed the distance rules, I'm sure we will hear from them.
Yes. Just a quick comment. It's my understanding that they are working on a waiver for those that are already established and within that are technically too close to schools or other establishments.
Yes. Okay. Yes, just go down hello, hi.
So I was there, was it June, July, that we kind of called in, or you called in code early for the discussions? I see that they're on this list. I assume we're still not voting to approve that, or that's going to be excluded because we already voted on that?
Well, they came in with both, no, they came in with the rep, but not the owner. And if that's something that makes you think twice, but the legal rep did assure us that they have no relationship to the previous owners. They have signed STIPs and they will not use third-party promoters.
Oh, no,
Wait,
sorry.
I just want to make sure we're not,
No, he's talking about
code we voted on in
Code, okay,
June.
zone.
Yes, and
Code
code.
we voted on in
Letter
June,
words.
and we voted to send a letter to SLA, which
Right.
was sent, to disapprove, right?
Right.
Well, we sent it before it came up, but we said that we didn't want to approve it because we weren't going to be meeting over the summer, so we had to take the vote in June. So the letter did go to SLA. So if now we don't want to,
Oh,
well then,
okay.
well then we should
If it
probably
is on the
remove-
list, then I believe we should vote for the approval of everybody except code. Okay, it's two four-letter words which have a vowel. So with the exception of code, I suggest that we vote for the approval.
Okay, hold on. We have to get Marie to withdraw her.
Okay, Marie, do you want to withdraw your motion?
But I'm very confused because I believe that code was not approved, maybe because it belonged in this list.
So, so what happened was, the chair of the board asked us to call code in June. They did not submit any forms, but the board voted against them, and we sent a letter against them to New York State Liquor Authority. Once the documents came in, mandatorily, we have to put them on the list. They are on the list. The letter did go out, and if Marie chooses to take back her motion to review the list and remove code from your vote, you can do that. The letter did go out. New York State Liquor Authority did receive the letter of denial. In most cases, if it's not related to an issue that happens inside the premises, state automatically renews. I can follow up on Thursday and find out if they did indeed receive their liquor license, because the time has lapsed. But if you want to make a statement to State Liquor Authority, then Marie should remove her motion and revote without
Okay.
it.
Yes, I follow that.
Okay. Can I amend my motion?
Yes.
Would you like me to remove it?
I think either, whichever
Okay,
you
let's
prefer
remove
doing.
it and let's make another motion on you,
Okay.
Kathleen. And then
Okay.
I'll second it.
All right, I make a motion that we approve all of the new and renewal liquor licenses with the exception of code. Second?
Second.
Okay, now discussion. Go ahead, Brian.
I had an issue with another establishment on the liquor list. Should I raise that now or? Okay. Yeah, I am concerned. I'm aware of a lot of issues related to shenanigans by the park. It is within less than a block of maybe Fay Elementary School. I'm aware of a lot of issues related to fights, loud noise into the night, and suspected drunk driving. It's been persistent for a long time, and I don't believe their license has been up for renewal for a while. And it was grandfathered in such that it could be so close to a school. It's the only bar, in that area on Ditmars. So I would recommend the board not renew that.
Okay, then we'd have to make an amendment if you wanted to do that as well. So I guess just, the police did not flag that. We got a report back saying there was nothing, they had no complaints over that establishment. I'm asking for the public record. Okay.
Our office receives reports back from the police department. The numbers did not indicate that that was an establishment of problem. We shared that report with the chair of the board and the chair of the committee and the vice chair of the committee. Their reports did not indicate an issue with that establishment.
I also think it's possible that people dislike the way a place is going and do not call 311 or 911. So the people in the neighborhood know it's a problem, but there's no record of it either through the 114 or calls to the office.
Well, I'm sorry, we have to have something to base our decision on, right? And as a matter of fact, the police officer was there that night, and she indicated there were no problems with, as far as she knew, that whole list.
So then I think that it is a thing to do for the people in the community, particularly around shenanigans, to start documenting everything. And if they shoot up in terms of 311 and 911 calls, then we can call them in and ask them what the heck they are doing. So
Okay, yeah.
that's what I would suggest. I don't feel like we have enough documentation and only one anecdotal report to say, no, we need to not to vote against their license. So I would encourage this to be something that everybody does in their own neighborhoods. If you have a problem spot, make sure that it is reported and documented.
Other comments, questions? We can't take comments from the public. I'm sorry. This is members of the public aren't allowed to speak during this part. So I'm sorry. That was during public session. Okay, so Anything else about these particular liquor licenses? Okay. All right. So you want to call for a vote?
Yes, I'd like to call for a vote to approve the new and renewal liquor licenses of everybody on the list with the exception of Code. Okay, and now I would like to call the vote. Okay, do we need to do a roll call?
No, just
Okay.
raise a hands or eyes.
Okay, raise your hand or eyes if you approve this list.
Aye.
Are there any noes? Okay. All right.
Any
so-
abstentions? 2.
Okay. So is that it for consumer affairs?
I believe so. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on quickly. Legal, legislative, parliamentary. Rod is not here today. Office, budget, and staff committee. We're scheduling a meeting for October. Parks, recreation, and cultural. Richard.
Yes, Florence and I actually went to the Overlook, to the Parks facility here in Queens, and we had our annual Parks budget meeting where they went over their requests. We also went over and met with different department heads, and it was another, and the Queens Commissioner was presiding over the meeting. And we're going to take that information and incorporate it in our budget discussions, which we will have on October 6th. And that's it. Good to be. Hope everybody had a great summer.
Okay, next we have public safety. Chris?
Okay, hi everyone. Really quickly, our meeting will take place tomorrow evening. Particularly if you are on the committee, please do join us, where we will be discussing, choosing, and ranking our capital and expense priorities. Also, in the coming months, given the discussion about the serial assaulter this evening, we definitely want to bring folks in October. I've already given my email to some of the folks here tonight. Also on upcoming docket is to get representatives from the precinct back, and we have been in discussion with a local rabbi who runs a local nonprofit, the name of which is escaping me, about an upcoming discussion about combating the rise of anti-Semitism in Astoria. So a lot happening in the coming months.
Thank you, Chris. And last but not least, transportation.
Oh, sure.
Go for it.
Hi, really quick. We did meet about 2 weeks ago. That's our committee. We had 2 presentations. They were, Port Authority presented about battery energy systems at 2 spots west and northwest of LaGuardia. And number 2, the MTA presented about changes in the F and the M change being implemented in December of 25. And I guess I would like to just say, they give presentations which are quite informative, and I take a lot of, screenshots, but I would request that the board could just send those 2 PDFs to the entire board. Is that possible?
Sure.
Okay. And then lastly, or second lastly, there was a pedestrian killed by a driver on my corner, which is 39th Avenue and 30th Street, so neighbors will be asking the DOT for a 2-way stop sign, I guess, because it's 2 one-way streets. It was the day before Labor Day, and we've asked for that before. And also for traffic lights on the intersection of 37th Avenue. It's a 2-way avenue, and 30th Street, because in discussion, neighbors complain about that. And then lastly, and really lastly, the committee is putting together our rankings, and we'll be getting them to Amy by September 22. We're working by email, and they're sending me and the board everyone's individual rankings, and I'm going to assess them, and I'll get them to Amy with the backup.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shahnaz, you have a question?
I have a question to Don. Regarding
sorry.
No, a question to you.
Go ahead.
Okay, regarding the MTA presentation about the M train, it was a lot of discussion, like especially someone brought to our attention, the M train is 8 cars, because the station for the M train.
In Brooklyn.
Yeah, but also the F train is 10 cars.
Yep.
And now when we move from F to M, from 6 a.m. to 9:30 p.m., this is, people say at first it's confusing.
Yeah.
Like, now I'm in the train, and 9:30 you're going to move to go back to 21st, not to Queens Plaza.
Yeah.
I talked to a lot of people because I want to see how people's opinion about this. The people in Queensbridge is really, really scared about this because they say this is the train they take it.
Yeah.
And with all the new building and all of this,
Yeah.
the M train is not going to be enough because it's 8 cars is local, and they ask him, why are we moving an express train
Right.
to put it with another express train in Queensbridge and leave us with a local train? This is another question. It was a lot of questions. People now want to know what they have to do, how they can do petition, and is a lot of people was really need to know what they can do for this.
Yeah. Yes, that would be great to send the presentation, please. And I think about the 8 verse 10, these different stations are only affected South Brooklyn when the M and the F go there. So I think the switch that they're making won't, like, I think all our stations here can accommodate either. So they'll be getting the 8 train M and the 10 train F like it always was. So that's kind of interesting, but no action there. And then I just really appreciated those planners undoing 2 double switches. So I really thought it was efficient, and I think the information was given that even though the trains will be a minute or two more on average further apart, because of the way the M and the F rumble through Manhattan, picking up more people, they'll be significantly less crowded. So I have confidence in the plan, and I think that people will be happy with it. Just because they'll be getting the train, it'll be a minute late, but it'll have room. So it made a lot of sense to me.
Okay, Corinne? First.
I want to ask, is it possible?
Wait a minute, hold on. Corinne?
Thank you, sir. I want to ask, is it possible to have the presenters of that to contact the TA president for Queensbridge and come do the presentation? Because there's been a lot of chatter about it. There were some MTA representatives at our September meeting. However, they were there to address the rerouting of the bus line that we were not privy to as a community conversation. They did engagement back 6 years ago when we did not have representation. And so they came out for that, and they asked to speak about some changes in the F line. It's probably the same thing that they presented to you all, but they did not present to us. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, it makes sense, and it was actually a lot of confusion on the night of our committee meeting where people were at our meeting for a bus meeting. So, seriously, remember that?
Yeah. They were supposed to be at our meeting.
Yeah, it was. But what I'd like to suggest, if it's okay with Evie, it was Alan Foster, Luke De Palma, and they presented. Is it possible that we can have the board reach out to these MTA
absolutely.
reps to get in touch with Queensbridge?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Another question. Okay, another question came. People
Yes,
was
Shahanaz.
talking.
Nobody wants to go home.
Okay, no, I want to go home, but people was asking about this. 102, the bus, they said now is because it's in 36th Avenue, and they make it right turn to the under the train. They said it's really horrible and it's scary for a lot of people because the bus to take the turn there is a really small way to make the turn.
South on 31st Street?
36th Avenue, and under the train and the train is 31st Street.
I think it's the Q102 you're referring to.
Yeah, Q102.
Yeah.
The people complain a lot about how the turn is really dangerous. Because 102 used to be turned from another street, now it's turning from 36th Avenue.
And that's permanent.
This is a new way, yeah.
Yeah,
they put everything is permit now.
They rerouted it to Roosevelt Island, hence why it goes down 36th Avenue. So now it goes from, I believe, Jackson Avenue down to 31st Street, which it always did, but now it turns westbound on 36th Avenue.
So it turns off 31st Street.
Yeah, so it's under the train. It runs under the train right up until 36th Avenue, headed north. then it heads west on 36th Ave, and it continues that way to Roosevelt Island toward the bridge. So I think you're referring to like the turn under the very narrow train tracks that are, yeah, it's a very frequented intersection.
And it's the left turn, which are most dangerous. No, it's a,
Like to coming from Roosevelt Island?
right.
To Roosevelt Island, it's a left-bound turn,
Right,
yeah.
right.
I wrote it the other day.
Right. Okay, so I can make, okay.
I mean, I think we want to encourage the MTA to get feedback from the community as well. Like, so I think there's a lot of people who have feedback, and it's rolled out, and it's
Right.
important for them to kind of get feedback on what's working and maybe what's problematic. So I think
They
we
asked
can reach out
also
to them.
if they
Yeah.
can have a meeting. I told the people from Queensbridge to talk to Corinne. I
Yeah.
told them talk to Corinne, please, because the Queensbridge, Corinne can take care of this. But the people from Ravenswood, when
Right.
I told them you can watch the presentation in YouTube. I gave them the link. But the problem now, people are really scared.
Yeah.
Even when we was talking, like, okay, did the MTA try to first to see the M train how it's working? But I don't believe they did any example how it's going to work. And now they take the decision going to be changed in December. But with all this going to be, in our area, we have a lot of new building. That means more people using the train. I don't feeling it's a change going to fix the situation, but still I'm not the MTA. They did the studies, they know better than anyone. But still they need to come to us and explain more how the study happened and all of this, because I never hear about this until the day when we stay in the presentation.
Yeah. So we can ask them to come out and do outreach into the Ravenswood. And it seems like they went to Queensbridge, but just about the redesign.
No, they
and
did not
the
come
subway.
to, no, they did not. They did not.
Oh, you were having just your own meeting
I
and they didn't
heard,
come?
no, I
The
reached
bus-
out to
bus meeting.
MTA. They did not, they reached out to me when they did their kickoff. When they did their kickoff day, they reached out to me 4 days before that. But there had already been chatter from our older adults. We got about 3/4 of our residents are older adults, and they're mobile impaired, and they either have a cane or a walker, and they removed 3 bus stops from inside Queensbridge. 3 bus stops. So now the residents have to go to 21st Street. They never talked to our older adult program directors. We have Department of Aging, we have the NORC program. They didn't do any engagement, and if they did any, it was 6 years ago. And 6 years ago, we did not have a resident council at all. So I don't know how they spoke to, who they spoke to, but those residents that were older adults then are even older adults now. So it's a huge disparity when it comes to how we are or were engaged, and I wrote a letter, and I think I CC'd the board on it, and so, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you, just a
Just
question.
to bring you up to speed, we can
No,
talk about
appreciate
it
it.
at a later time, but
How many months or years has this implementation changed? Like, when did it change to the fewer?
Last month.
Space? Okay, so.
August.
Okay.
It rolled out in 2 phases. There was one phase in Eastern Queens that rolled out, I believe, on June 29th. The second phase of which mostly affected Western Queens, rolled out on August 31st.
Okay. So
And,
we'll
yeah.
encourage the MTA to go and do proper outreach and get feedback in both of those
Yeah, because
communities.
it's the same,
Yep, got it.
the same for what Corinne said. The people
Yes.
from Queensbridge, they said, they wake up, they stand, it's because the problem, they still have the sign for the stop.
Yeah.
But the people standing there, but the bus doesn't stop.
Right, okay.
And this is the other problem. I'm standing there as a senior,
Yeah.
but the bus doesn't stop, and they were like, why the bus? This is a new way.
Got it. Okay, Christina?
I just wanted to know that Astoria Houses residents are also upset about the changes in their area. Apparently, the bus doesn't stop on the hill anymore of 27th Ave and 8th Street, which also is right next to Goodwill Housing. Like, also a lot of people with disabilities and elderly folks. And I just wanted to point out this is a huge thing that we should be concerned about, not just for our aging, but for people with disabilities. Long-term and short-term, like any of us can have a disability tomorrow by an accident, and we really take these things for granted as mobile people. And for even when I was pregnant, that one block makes a difference. You know.
Okay, if you have things that you really want to like maybe tell the MTA to like like.
Talk to the NYCHA
Send
residents
an email.
because they're
Send
the
an
ones who are
email
most
to the
harmed.
board office, and we'll synthesize it, and we'll send it to them and say, here's some issues, and you need to do some outreach. Okay. Okay. 10 seconds, Frank.
No, I'm happy
Oh,
to follow
okay.
the process.
Because you said 10 seconds, so I was going to give you 10 seconds.
I was just going to say, the Q69 from top to bottom, they moved them and it doesn't line up with the schools, it doesn't line up with the parks. And they're usually not next to the crosswalks that are protected. It's been a problem all up and down the Q69 as well.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to new business, old business. Anyone have any? Okay, any elected reps? If you could keep it to a minute or less. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'll keep it short. Tomorrow, we will have our final public hearing on 1 LIC, starting at 10 a.m. in chambers at City Hall. This is the final critical opportunity for the public to weigh in on the rezoning ahead of the City Council vote, which will happen later in the fall. It will probably be later in October, early November. We're encouraging everyone to come to testify. You can testify in person, which is highly encouraged. But if you cannot, there is an opportunity to testify via Zoom. It will begin about an hour or so after the hearing begins. If you need information, you can get it from Evie to testify via Zoom. It's the Council Land Use website. When you go to the Council Land Use website, there is a section that says Long Island City Plan. You click on it and you can register to testify via Zoom there. On September 29th, the Committee on Parks and the Committee on Contracts will host a hearing on Griffin's Landscaping, a vendor whose owner, Glenn Griffin, was recently sentenced to 2 years in federal prison. Though the company has been placed under monitorship by the city's Department of Investigation, it continues to receive taxpayer funded contracts. So Councilmember 1 and Councilmember Shekhar Krishnan are going to be basically holding this hearing to understand why this is still happening. This past summer, we distributed over 700 backpacks to community members over 12 events throughout the district. We started off with Woodside Houses and ended at Ravenswood Houses. We also hosted a bike helmet giveaway at several movie nights, screening Mufasa, Wicked, and Inside Out 2, amongst other popular and current movies. We have three upcoming clinics. We have our Legal Immigration Services clinic, so you'll have to call our office to get more information on that. This is for anybody who needs information on how to apply for green cards, naturalization, TPS, DACA, anything like that. We have our housing lawyer on September 23rd. If anybody's having any issues with their landlords, wants to file a DHCR report, I encourage you to come and visit us. And then every month, on the second Monday of every month, we have our Veterans of Foreign Wars clinic. This is for anybody who is a veteran. This clinic is just open for anybody, veterans, family of veterans, to find out what benefits you may have access to.
Thank you, Farah. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'll also be quick. My name is Kaylin Munoz from Senator Gonzalez's office. As the board was just discussing, the Queens Bus Network redesign went into full effect on September 2nd. We're working with the MTA and constituents to navigate route changes and concerns. Please reach out to our office if you have any concerns. You can grab a card from me. Additionally, the MTA is raising rates to $3, as well as raising additional fares on the LIRR and express bus services. They are also phasing out the 7-day and 30-day prepaid unlimited cards. They are still accepting comments on proposed rate increases. If you would like more information on how to submit public comments at their upcoming hearings, please see me afterwards. Backpack giveaways. This year, Senator Gonzalez worked with various sponsors, tenant residents organizations, and neighborhood advocates to give away 830 backpacks at over 13 locations across the district. We have an upcoming event. Please save the date. Senator Gonzalez is hosting a virtual town hall on the federal budget cuts on Monday, October 6th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We'll be discussing how the federal budget cuts will affect New Yorkers, the state of our districts, and more. Please feel free to grab a flyer from the table to sign up. See me for the link or check out our Instagram or our upcoming newsletter. Hope to see you there. We are also taking award nominations. If you know someone in our district who has gone above and beyond in their capacity to help our community, a first responder, a business, an organization, or an exceptional individual that you'd like to be honored, please fill out our submission form. You can also grab that link or information from me afterwards. Thank you, everyone.
Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa. I'm from the Office of Councilmember Tiffany Caban. Just wanted to very quickly announce 2 events. We have a Stand Against ICE rally and resource fair on September 27th. That's a Saturday at 11 a.m. We will be joined by local groups and community-based organizations to stand up against ICE. We also have a land use event this Saturday, September 20th from 12 to 4 p.m. at the Broadway Library. Our team in the Land Use Division will be leading interactive activities to gather feedback about the district and the community's future. If you would like to RSVP, please email our office at district22@council.nyc.gov. And as always, just amplifying our legal services, we have CUNY Citizenship Now, the second Monday of every month. Next month, it'll be on October 6th. You can reserve an appointment by calling our office. We also have free legal housing consultations. They will resume on October 1st. That's on a Wednesday. Call our office to reserve a spot at 718-274-4500. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Kazi Mariam, and I'm from Assemblymember Stephen Raga's office. It's nice to see you all. I hope you guys all had a great summer. Over the summer, our office hosted legal clinics, back to school giveaway event, and youth day. And as for legislative updates, we secured $110 million for Mitchell-Lama capital improvement funding, with $30 million for New York City units, secured universal school meals for children all throughout the state. And an office update we will be moving our office starting October. We will be relocating in a location at Woodside. We can give you more information regarding our new office address and operating hours sometime soon. And if you like, you can give us a call at 718-651-3185 if you have any questions or concerns. And for some mobile office hours, we will be holding mobile office hours tomorrow, September 17th at 8605 Broadway. And for Woodside location, we will be holding it by the end of the month at 6423 Broadway, Woodside. Thank you so much, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Claire Collins. I'm the CB1 liaison from the Office of Queensborough President Donovan Richards. Oh my gosh, 10 p.m. We are so back. I hope you all had a good summer. All right, so on Tuesday, September 23rd at 6 p.m., we're hosting our Caribbean Heritage Celebration at the Queens Museum in Flushing Meadows Park. And then the following, also happy Mexican Independence Day. It's today. If you'd like to celebrate, come to Queensborough Hall on Thursday, September 25th for our Mexican Independence Day celebration at 6 p.m. Finally, on Saturday, September 27th, we're hosting, from 4 to 7 p.m., we're hosting our annual Queens Climate Expo, which is going to be at the New York Hall of Science, which is also in Flushing Meadows Park. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Hope you had a nice summer. Lovely to see you all again. Benjamin from Assemblymember Mamdani's office. Happy New Year, Happy Independence Day, and Happy New Year next Monday, Rosh Hashanah, to those who celebrate. To start, similar to my colleagues, our office has given out around 1,000 backpacks, and we have some extras. So, if anyone wants any free backpacks, I have 5 with me right here, and we have around 20 at our office. So if you want a backpack, let me know. In addition, our office is now hosting new satellite office hours for NYCHA residents at Queensbridge, Astoria houses, and Ravenswood houses each month. Skip past some of the more minute details, but essentially if folks have housing, quality of life, or unemployment concerns, those are the places to raise them. Lastly, as we enter the school year, our office wanted to share a couple of reminders. Public Schools is currently seeking feedback regarding a new school planning, in buildings coming to the neighborhood from residents of CEC 30, aka us, who have a child that's attending school in the district or a child who may attend school. Essentially, it's building a new elementary school for the 26 and 27 school year. And as it's going about this process, it's asking for feedback at what temporary site should house this new school and where the permanent location should be. If you'd like info, there's a survey with a complicated link, and I can give it to you if you'd like it. Lastly, I wanted to highlight District 30's Family Welcome Center, essentially which helps New York City families and those in the district year-round with questions they may have on admissions and enrollment and student guidance and navigating the school system. For those in District 30, the Family Welcome Center is located at 2811 Queens Plaza North, 3rd floor. It's open Monday to Thursday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Friday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Lastly, just regarding something that was...
It's time. Yeah. Okay, 5 seconds.
One small thing. Okay. If you would like to add a bus stop from the Queens Network bus redesign, there is a complaint form online.
Perfect.
It's contact.mta.info/s/forms/bus-network-redesign. There is precedent for bus changes having an issue, people using this, and then it changing again. So please, if you don't like the network redesign, use this form, complain, let them know. They can change it. It's possible.
Thank you. We can maybe tweet out that link and post it and all that. Share it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much for that. Okay, motion to adjourn? Shahana, second? Second. All right, all in favor? Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks all. We are back. We are back, as Claire said.